Hey, yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. How are we doing today? How are we all doing? Hopefully having a good weekend so far. Just a little FYI, I did upload a video today, guys, if you want to check it out. Just talking about Zany, potential for being a Broadblade user, and talking about the official confirmation of Brant and Phoebe's attributes and their weapons as well. They're pinned in both the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat, guys, if you want to check it out. Let me know what you think as well. And if you are watching on YouTube, guys, be sure to drop a like on the stream. It's massively appreciated. It helps out a lot as well. And, you know, all that good stuff, all that good stuff. So, yeah, we're going to, we got a couple of videos I want to check out today. We're going to get into it in regards to Wua. I do have some videos that I might have a video that I'll maybe get up today, but it'll probably be tomorrow now, talking about the question on new weapons in Wuthering Waves. And the plan is do a bit of Wuthering Waves today, maybe get on a little bit of Zenly Zone Zero, and actually try and start Reverse 1999 again. We're back at it, that's the plan anyway, guys. What are we doing, man? We all good? Are we all good? Let me know if the audio's coming through all good as well, guys. I'd appreciate that. It's good to see ya. Yo, Dapper, what's going on, dude? Jamie, welcome to the stream. What's going on, Sarah? Hello, hello, hello. How are we, guys? How are we? Hope you're having a good time. Hope the weekend's been good to you. Yeah, once again, I did upload a video today. As I say, I do want to get that video on regards to the question of new weapons. I want to start getting more of those videos. You know, I do want to get back to getting these theory crafting videos up soon. You know, the proper scripted ones like we've done in the past. But I do want to, like, have these, I guess, theory crafting question videos where we, you know, we pose a question and we just talk about it, and you guys can hit me up with what you think in the comments, or whether you think I'm a fucking idiot, or, you know, you think I'm onto something. I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Audio's all good. Audio, yeah, okay, sweet, awesome, brilliant. Love it. I'm all good, just car and horse stuff, plus a bit of gaming. Oh yeah, I forgot Mrs. Scarrow, shit. Yeah, welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome. As well, in 5 days, we're going to be playing the Art Night Enfield beta as well. As far as I'm aware, like I said, it appears that we're going to be able to stream it, share it, make videos on it. So I'm looking forward to that. So if there's something you're interested in that regards as well, you know, we'll have a little bit of that for you. Yeah, we will do. Oh, okay. It's so warm in my room. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm sweating my tatties off. Jeez. Yo, should we get things started? All right, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. Let's get it started, lads. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let me, that music might be a little bit loud. It might be a little bit loud. Mine has arthritis. She's been lame for the last 11 months, but she's finally been given the green light by the vet. Okay, nice. Man, I bet looking after the bloody horse is expensive, isn't it? CM seems to have had an anime event and there was a lot of Wua cosplayers. Hope we get some footage on our side. Usually it's posted mostly on CM platforms. Well, we can maybe have a little look on Bilibili, actually, to be fair. I do have a little perusal from time to time. You know, obviously, depending on the content, we can't look at everything, because if it's heavily vocal content, then it's no point. But if we can get some good visuals, man, I'm down to have a look. I'm down to have a look. Just getting a bit of hiccups. So yeah, I was going to check out Doro's first impressions on Wuthering Waves as well. Bit of a longer video, it's like 27 minutes, but I'm curious to see what like some of the Huyo bots have got to say about 2.0. I do like to see it from the other side sometimes, where, like, you know, it's not necessarily their game, if you will, and they cover other content. Yeah, very expensive during summer. It's about $450 a month. During the winter, closer to $600. Jeez, man. Your boy's rolling in the fucking wedge, right? Move that over there. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Should we get straight into it? Because I'm later than I wanted to be today, if I'm honest. We're gonna have a little look at the list of upcoming gacha games of January 2025. You know. See what it's see what's going on. See what's coming up. Shall we go? See what's coming up. Where are we? Let me get switched over. Alright, let's do this thing then, man. Let's do this thing. Okie dokie. Should we, do you know what? I think we're going to go straight into some of these videos, because, you know, this one's a 27-minute one.
Look, I know, I'm late.
Okay, YouTube. All right, play the video without me seeing it, you know. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's check out this video from Doro, shall we? My honest first impressions of Wuthering Waves 2.0. I love to hear the viewpoints from the other side, so to speak. You know, people who typically, Wua is not their game, if you will. Although, you know, let's face it, most content creators play a variety of different games, whether it's on content, on the stream, or on the channel, or off it. But I am curious to see people who kind of main Genshin, main other games, what their viewpoint is of 2.0. Because personally, obviously, I've got a biased viewpoint, because Wua's kind of my favourite gacha game at the moment. And I think 2.0 is potentially one of the best, if not the best, actual update for a gacha game as a whole. So I'm kind of curious to see what the other side's got to say, whether they lean into that or, you know, they've got a different perspective. And of course, if they've played other games a lot more than I have, they might, you know, have a real reason for saying, actually, this doesn't even clear some of the updates I've seen in my favourite game. So let's see what Doro44's got to say, shall we? On his honest first impressions of 2.0. Because I think they cooked. Let's see if he thinks the same as well, then, shall we? All right, YouTube, don't play the video.
Look, I know, I'm late. Everyone's already posted their videos on Wua 2.0. I've had a lot of things.
I actually haven't. I've just been reacting to other people doing theirs because I'm lazy.
Going on in my personal life. That's a different discussion, but I'm making the video now because I really want to make it. My first impressions of Wuthering Waves. Weathering. I literally still can't even say it. Wua 2.0, the big update, came out like a week ago. And, well, I'm gonna just say it. They cooked. It is amazing. And look, I know I glazed this game up a lot. All my other videos on my like updates and my impressions of this patch and this patch, I always glaze the game, and I still stand by that glazing. But for 2.0, I mean, how can you not? I wanted to make the video to give you guys my...
Bro, for real, this is what I'll say. Like, you know, because I've seen, like, I've got a video actually that I might upload over the next couple of days where I feel like a bit of the WoW community got stun-locked by a one guy, which was kind of hilarious to me, because I think at the moment, you know, a lot of the dissenting voices, if you will, or the anti-WoW voices have kind of reduced just a little bit, in my opinion, because I think this update, like, spoke for itself. And I think even if you're not a Wuthering Waves player, or maybe even a little bit anti-WoW, I think you've got to at least accept that, you know what, this update kind of cooked. Whether it's an improvement to the story, voice acting, the visuals of the game, you know, the additional quality of life update, flight, you know, the extra little things added to the map to make it feel just that little bit more alive, if you will. One thing I will say, though, is we definitely need more echoes around the map. That's definitely a thing. You know, I think there's been massive improvements across the board, and so far, obviously, Carlotta, big W, and hopefully the new characters continue to be massive improvements as well.
My first impressions after beating the story and exploring Renacida, building Carlotta, checking out what's new in the update, to let you guys know how I'm feeling about it, and if you should download it and try it for yourself, whether you're a new player or you dropped it a long time ago. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna start with the story. It was incredible, from the characters to the voice acting. Oh my God, I'll get more into that, but the characters, the voice acting, the area, the plot, they cooked, man. It was cinema. And at the end of it, oh my God, one of the absolute coolest cutscenes I have pretty much ever seen in a gacha game. And the boss fights, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I was forgetting that I was playing technically a free-to-play mobile gacha game.
I said this as well, actually. You know, sorry, I had to pop off screen there. I'm back. Quite a few times when I was roaming around in Renacida, I did, you know, obviously you've got the gacha mechanics in a gacha game that will always ground you back to remind you that you're playing a gacha game. But quite a few times I often found myself thinking, damn, you know, I almost forgot. Well, I did forget I was playing a gacha game. I just felt like I was playing, you know, an action JRPG almost. And I think that's a massive thing, really, because I think that's a hard thing for gacha games to do. And personally, I think that might be the first time I've ever felt like that I don't feel like I'm engaging in a gacha game, and it just feels like I'm playing a real game, if you will, you know?
Like, seriously, it felt like I was playing a $60 or $70 AAA action game that I bought. Instead, I spent $300 to get Carlotta, but you know what I mean. It was incredible for gacha game standards. I was hooked from the beginning, and I really wanted to see how it ended, and in the ending, I really am excited now for...
Well, visually and sounds 2.0 is pretty decent. Technical part could be done way better. What do you mean way better? What are you playing on? Mobile, PS5 or PC? Because I've had no issues in the way the game runs, so I'd like to hear what people think about that. We're as decent now, but some minor changes could be implemented to improve more, as long as all devs of all games cared about the players, plus improve equals win-win situation. No drama. Disappointed? No, it doesn't seem so. What's going on, dude? The only bad thing in this update is every fucking update starting from 1.0 is a fucking shitty echo system. Tuners are useless. Phantom echoes are disappointing, and Exo XPs are still nowhere to be found. Agree on the Echo XP situation massively. You know, I think there's a lack of echoes in general in this area. And again, still, that is a massive bottleneck in the game for me. And I would like that to be improved. Give me more potential to get Echo XP. Can't deny that. This is a factor that's been a problem from the game since launch, though, you know?
For the new patches to see how it continues. There are a couple of slow parts in it, but for a gacha game, I feel like that's normal. There are going to be some parts where it's just like boring, or just like, okay, this is going on for a little too long.
Okay, see, I didn't get any of that, you know. Like, obviously, this is a total subjective thing. I didn't get any part of the story where I was like, man, this is just going on too long. I think I was way more intrigued and interested in this story than pretty much anything we've had in WoW so far, apart from probably 1.1 and Jinx's story, Mount Firmament, and all that sort of stuff. Because for me, that was really cool. And so far, I've really enjoyed this. You know, I've heard some people say they felt it went on a little bit too long. Personally, I didn't feel like that, but you know what? It's totally a subjective thing that is at the end of the day, isn't it?
But the story was filled with a lot of action. You know how gacha games where you go somewhere, you stand and you talk for like 40 minutes and it's just a yap fest, and then you walk and go somewhere else, and then you repeat that, and then maybe one action sequence or two, and then story's done. Not this. I feel like it was well paced. It was paced more like a mixture of a gacha game and an action game, and I just really enjoyed my time with it. So yeah, they just knocked it out of the park. I don't want to spoil anything in this video for you guys, but it was awesome. And another thing I do want to mention, though, I guess it's a con. This isn't really a pros and cons list, but I'm just gonna yap. But I saw on Twitter that a lot of people don't like how every character you meet falls in love with Rover. Yeah, well, you get that a little bit in this story with a certain character.
Yeah, I must admit, like, this has been one of my nitpicks with the story, I guess, is that I do want a little bit more conflict. I do want some, you know, characters to feel a certain way about the Rover, in my opinion. I must admit, it didn't feel too heavy with the whole thing with Carlotta. It's definitely there a little bit, isn't it? It's definitely there a little bit. And I think it's probably always going to be there. At the end of the day, most of these games do it to a degree. I do think in parts of Wuthering Waves, this might be dulled up just a little bit too much for me personally. You know, and I do hope in the future we do get some characters that come along and they're just like, hey, I don't like you, you don't like me, but we need to get this thing done. I would like to see some of that in the future, and even potentially just some bad guys becoming playable characters and our interactions going nothing beyond that personally. But yeah, I didn't really have a problem with it. I'm not going to lie. It's just the same thing with the Camellia story. I thought I was going to have a major problem with it, to be fair. Maybe it's just because I'm simping on those two characters, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, I didn't feel too bad. Like, I felt it more in the shorekeeper stuff and right at the start of the game as well, personally. But yeah, again, I think this is a personal thing, isn't it? And I think it's a thing that's bothering a lot of people, though. It's just how much it is bothering you.
But I won't go more into that. So if you're not a fan of that, well, buckle up, because it's in there. But it's not like a deal breaker or anything. I just wanted to warn you about that. And so going off of the story, I really wanted to touch on the voice acting, because
not much.
Wow. I mean, first and foremost, they pulled the strings to get Shadowheart's voice actor from Baldur's Gate, one of the biggest games to ever come out. Jennifer English voices Carlotta, the new 5-star, and she does a phenomenal job.
She does. Now, I think she's probably the best voiced character in the game now, in my opinion, at least on the EN side of things. You know, the game started off a little bit rough, didn't it, when it come to VAs? There was a few standout appearances. But for the most part, it was all pretty mid, with actually some kind of poor jobs at the start, didn't it? And it slowly got better, but I feel like 2.0 has been a massive, massive jump, in my opinion, in regards to the VA. Like, we've gone from a game that was kind of mid in regards to VA, not so much the VAs themselves doing a poor job, some of them, but more just the direction. It just felt like that they weren't directed well, potentially. And now, like, I think now they've centered more on the UK for their VA talent. You know, that doesn't actually mean everybody's going to be British, but that's where they're pulling from for the talent. I think that's a good thing, because it's giving them ability to maybe control things a little bit more and getting what they want out of it. But I think the VA quality elevated in 2.0 to the point where we've got, like I say, we're going from something kind of mid to something actually kind of top tier, in my opinion.
I will be honest, I am a little biased because I love Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate, and I romanced her, and I'm also romancing her again on my second playthrough of Baldur's Gate. I have a problem, okay? Look, Shadowheart mains rise up, all right? But all I can really hear is Shadowheart, but that's not a bad thing. I'm able to differentiate it, but besides the point, she does a very good job. I mean, she is...
Your bro's getting parasocial over the VA.
Just a really good voice actress and knocks it out of the park. But other than her, dude, everybody, all the characters that you meet in Renacida in 2.0, they just sound so good. And if they have an accent, the accents sound amazing too. Like, look, I'm not Italian or Greek or whatever. Like, I don't have those accents. I have an American accent, you know, because cheeseburger and French fries, but those accents sounded pretty realistic to me, especially Zani. It's just, I kept saying this in my stream. They really upped it with the voice acting and the dialects. Like, wow. It was really good. And I'm so happy to see that, especially from where we started in 1.0 to now. It's like a completely new game. The characters
I mean, from what I've heard, the ENVA for Rover is known to be good, but at first she was kind of lacking, so people did say it was probably the director rather than the VA. Yeah, I do think that definitely. You know, like at the start, Yang was rough as well. You know, in my opinion, was rough. Like there was parts at the start, I was like, is this AI? Because this is sounding kind of freaking sus, if you ask me. You hated Shadowheart. I know a lot of people love that character, but again, can't say because I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. 1.0, 1.2 to 1.2, you're literally forced to play in JP because the VAs are just bad, except for like Chang Li. See, like I didn't. I played all through EN, and I don't know. I think Scar killed it. I think Jian was decent as well. Obviously, we got to see a little bit of Cammy through things. She was great. Jinxie was great, in my opinion. I think Sanhua did a pretty decent job as well, personally. You know, Xia wasn't bad either, if I'm honest. I think it was just heavily, like the medium was kind of dragged down by Rover and Yang for parts of it. You know, Boy G had some issues for me as well, personally. But yeah, I don't think it was that bad where I felt like I had to play in JP, but I know a lot of people felt the same way, Colin. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Voice acting in We Were Reverse 1919 is good. Yes, I'm hoping to restart 1999 today, to be fair. How many people said Yang was AI and all the allegations? It was kind of, yeah, man, that is exactly how I felt when I first heard it. I was like, what is this, bro? Is this text to speech or some shit, man?
Were believable, and you know, they just had emotion with their words. Like, it was just really good. No cringe dialogue or anything like that. So
yeah, the storytelling was good as well.
Yeah, the voice acting, if you're into that, or if that is a factor for you, they knocked it out of the park. No problems there. And I guess speaking about characters as well, the characters that you meet in 2.0, awesome.
Yeah,
all of them are awesome. The one
I agree. I think they're introduced in a really good way as well.
One that I didn't really care for until I got to play as them in the story was Rochia, which is like the little jester girl. I never really cared for her. I was like, okay, she looks cool. But then once you get to meet her, and then play as her, I guess, spoiler alert, you get to play as her in the story. She's awesome. She's so fun to play. Her character is pretty funny. So I do like the character.
I like Rochia. She's massively grown on me, man. Massively grown on me.
Honestly, she's nothing too special character wise. Her personality does seem a little meh, but I think that's on purpose. At least I think it is. But I don't dislike her or anything. I ended up liking her a lot. But other than that, I love that deadpan, especially Zani, because you meet Zani early on, and oh man, she's just great. The voice and the design and her personality, they just really did a great job. I know.
I don't remember, it's Zani, isn't it? Because I'll say Zany, and do you know what? I'm going to keep saying that. Somebody commented on my video earlier. Stop butchering the name. It's Zani, and I was like, no, I don't think I will. To bring the Captain America.
I know people are going to go in the comments of this video and be like, man, this guy's just glazing this game up. But like, dude, for real, I've been having so much fun this last week. I don't even have really anything bad to say about 2.0. But yeah, every character is interesting. The designs are really...
I think for me, if I had to, like, the biggest problem that I think I'd say with 2.0 is that it feels like a bit of a struggle bus to get echoes at the moment. I feel like that we could do with an uprate in how many are spread out around the map. Because you know, I haven't collected many at the minute. I've just started kind of farming now because I've kind of just been enjoying things. I'm getting trash main stats for one, and it just feels a little bit like it's a little bit exacerbated from prior patches, which for me is a bit of a problem because we all know rolling for stats and substats, should I say, on WoW. It's kind of a rough time sometimes. Some people just have really good luck. Me, I've just got diabolically bad luck when it comes to substats. So yeah, it's like it's a problem that was a problem before. It's kind of feels like it's at the mini feels like it's almost a little bit worse at the moment for me personally. So I'd like to see a few more echoes placed around the map because the map feels very full and alive. I just feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a placebo in my brain and I'm kind of not seeing it, but I feel like there should be more echoes around. And I just seem to see a lot of the teddies, you know? The Cuddlewooders are everywhere, man.
Good. I think Carlotta might be the coolest looking design character in 2.0. There are a couple others that I won't spoil for you, but yeah, Carlotta, dude, just from head to toe, she just looks great. Everybody you meet. There's a vendor that you meet who sells you masks, and she's an invisible woman, but she still has like clothes on and a floating mask. Like, everyone seems pretty unique, which is a small little detail that you don't really notice, but like subconsciously it adds on to like the world building. Maybe that's like a stretch or something, but that's how I see it. Like
no, I agree with that. I agree with that, because it's like almost like you've got this, everybody's got a different kind of forte, so it's like almost like superheroes in a world, and it's built up that, you know, maybe everybody's is not necessarily used for going and beating the shit out of people. You know, you got a dude's forte, he's like based around like photography and all that sort of stuff, and hers is invisibility. You know, it just adds this kind of like thing where some people's forte powers might not necessarily be something that you'd want, you know, like the superheroes and mutant powers and characters in comic books that have these powers where you're like, that's kind of weird. But it builds up, doesn't it? Not everybody's like Superman, or not everybody's like you know, a Thor or an Incredible Hulk. There's these guys who are like, you know, B, C tier kind of characters that are just like, you know, they might have the power to be a really good thief because they can go invisible, or, you know, whatever. Insert the power right there, like.
Add on to just making the world grow. And I actually think that was a complaint for a lot of people of like the world building. It felt like it wasn't really present. And I think Kuro took that seriously, and they try to up that for us.
I'll disagree on this. Flight makes Echo collection easier. There are highly congested areas like the one near the hologram where almost all three costs similar to spawns. Yeah, I feel overall the map feels like there's some really dead spots in regards for echoes, in my opinion. Of course, Flight makes it easier to get around, but I just mean in terms of how they're laid out. I just feel like it could be a little bit better, in my opinion.
Another thing I really like about 2.0 is the music.
Yeah,
I always thought the music was pretty good and had some bangers for some bosses and moments.
But few and far between, though, to be fair.
They really stepped it up. I think the theme of this video is, and maybe I'll even title the video this, Kuro stepped it up. Wuwa really stepped it up this time. And the music just went from here to like here, in my opinion. Like, there's one specific song. I'll play a little bit for you on this video. I'll probably get copyright struck for it, but here you go. Oh my God, this is such a banger of a song. Yeah, that song is a banger. I keep listening to it on repeat. But besides that, like just the background music in Renaissance.
Again, it's that overall production, isn't it? It's that improvement. We're talking about this in regards to like marketing, the splash art and stuff, which is kind of weird in the latest little drops that I spoke about in my video earlier. You know, where they've announced Brant's weapon and his attribute and Phoebe's weapon and attribute. That splash art was kind of weird. It almost felt like, I don't know if they were trying to get ahead of leaks with that sort of stuff, or it wasn't planned, because it just felt weird, because that's not really the way they do things. I still feel like they're trying to find the mark or the cycle on the marketing. You know, that you can never really rely, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen running up to new banners for characters, because they're kind of just like all over the place when it comes to that sort of stuff. So like I was thinking when I saw that pop up on Twitter today, I was like, this is kind of unusual. Like the splash art feels like 1.0 splash art again. And then they showed you the little vignette, and it was the initial images that we saw of those characters, I believe, just with a different background, if I remember correctly. And it just kind of felt out of place. That did, actually. So I don't know if they were just trying to get ahead of things, maybe, in regards to leaks, potentially. I'm not too sure. Again, I haven't interacted with leaks for quite a while for this game now, so I don't know if there is actually major leaks going on at the moment, but that's kind of what it felt like. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, like, it felt like a reversion. And as I say, like, announcing the attributes and the weapons like that, it was just like, this seems odd, this does.
And different areas, like, it's just really good. It really kind of like ties the vibe together, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people don't realize how important sound and music is in video games, but music can definitely,
I think it is overlooked sometimes, isn't it? Oh, definitely.
It just felt like a banger. Like it just felt like they chose the right music for every scenario in the story and in the areas that you go to. So I really have no complaints. I'm not a music theorist or musician or anything like that. So I mean, if you are, maybe you have some beef with it. I don't know. But as a casual player who just looks to these games to have fun, it was fine for me. Like, I loved it. And some of those songs were just a banger. Now, something that is a negative, a little bit,
okay,
just a little bit.
That's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for.
So the game is finally out for all PS5 users, and so it's open to a wider audience, which is awesome, you know, because it was for PC and mobile only, but now you get the PS5 players, and I'm really happy about that. I was a little skeptical because I was like, I wonder how it's going to be optimized for PS5, and I've been hearing different things, but I tested it out myself, and I even tested it out again this morning. It works 95% of the time. For the most part, it runs flawlessly. It looks beautiful, but I do get the occasional frame dips and frame stuttering. If you don't know what that is, like it's like 60.
That's definitely not great. Like, again, I said this, the PS5 launch had to be great. It had to be great because it was almost a soft launch of the game again, wasn't it, in a sense? You know, you're opening up to an entirely new audience. Could potentially be their first gacha game. Maybe not, you know, but there's that potential. So it had to hit. But, you know, I think if it's running good for 95% of the time, I think that's a decent launch, in my opinion. Especially for a studio that's never released to console before. You know, you're going to expect some bugs. I'm not going to lie. Maybe this feels like I'm glazing a little bit, but I expected more bugs in 2.0, if I'm honest. Now, I know there's been some. I know there has. But like, typically when games have these major patches, they usually break quite a few things, don't they, in live service games? As somebody who's been around them for a while, usually major patches cause a lot of problems. And again, personally, I haven't had too many. I had one major bug throughout playing the stories when you get to like it's building up to the end of the story, and you know you're back in Raguna, and you have to grapple up to those platforms to start engaging in the fights. That cutscene ended, the grapple was there, and I couldn't do anything, and my rover just starts idle animations. I'm like, what the? So I had to close the game down and restart. Luckily, it started right from there anyway. But that's the only like major issue I've had. Now, I've got to throw in the caveat. I am on a 4090 and a 13900K, so like I'm at the higher end of a PC build, so I'm not getting the typical experience that everybody's getting. But yeah, I've heard the same as well when it comes to the PS5. I've heard a lot of people saying runs perfectly fine for me, and then other people saying I've been having issues, to be fair. But I think that's kind of normal, really, isn't it?
The FPS, and then it'll stutter a little bit, or it'll drop down to like 40 maybe, or 45, 50, and you'll notice it like when you're fighting, like the frame rate kind of just jitters a little bit. Even if I'm just running around in the field, it'll
I think there's an issue where you can't change the server in like PC, switch to the Americas, SEA Europe. I don't know if that's fixed, but people, no, I think that's by design. I was actually going to upload a video on the day, but it was I felt after recording it, I was like, this is kind of boring. It's all revolving around the account stuff, but it was the FAQs on the accounts. And that was one of the things, as if your Kuro account is EU, it needs to be on an EU PlayStation account, basically. So if you're NA on PlayStation and the account you're using is an NA account, you need to have an NA Kuro account, basically. So I don't think that will change. Maybe they'll try and do something like that, but I think they're tied. So you kind of like, you know, if you're EU, you need to be on an EU account, like. So as far as I'm aware, it is intended, and I don't think that's going to change. Well, it is intended, but I don't think it's going to change. I guess we'll see, though. If enough people moan about it, maybe, but I don't know. It might be a back-end thing that they need it to be that way, I guess, maybe. I feel like I catch them all, but, like, it's good that most people didn't get much of it. Yeah, that can happen, Sarah, and that sucks. Like, it does happen, you know. Sometimes people just get unlucky, and they get every problem under the sun, don't they? And they just encounter it, and then other people are just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I think I've been quite lucky since launch like that. I've, like, you know, but again, I'm usually quite lucky in that regard on a lot of games. I tend to, no, you know, not have too many issues. Like, I even remember back going through Cyberpunk, you know, there was a cacophony of issues with that game. Played through that game, and it was like, I ain't seen it, you know, but it don't mean it's not happening.
Do that. So I have noticed that. I don't feel like the problem is fixed yet, because literally I was playing it this morning on my PlayStation. I could use a little bit of tweaking, a little bit. It's not a huge deal breaker. Like, you can play it just fine, but you know, that's something I wanted to mention to you guys. And I was testing it on my
definitely
PS5
don't want
Pro.
frame drops.
I don't know how it runs on a normal PS5, but it probably runs the same. But yeah, 95, maybe even 98%, it runs fine, except for like occasional stuttering. But that's probably something that they can fix very easily.
Now, yeah, if you're playing like Star Rail, you have FPS drops here and there.
Another thing I did notice with the PS5 version
game is
that the draw distance is a little short. I'm hoping that they can maybe expand it a little bit. I will say, I feel like Wuwa might be more demanding graphically than Genshin or Star Rail, right? I don't know. I'm not a game developer.
I'm not a game developer either, but I think that's kind of obvious. One, a game that came out 5 years ago and runs on Unity with a lot less poly count, at least it seems anyway. You know, and you've got a new game that's on UE4, isn't he? With a much higher poly count and a much a detailed world, you know. And open worlds anyway tend to lean onto the CPU a lot more, don't they? So like, you know, I think it's you know, kind of makes sense, I guess, really. Yeah, this is actually something true, especially when you fly. It kind of seems as soon as you lift 3 meters above the ground, everything overall disappears. Okay, interesting. Okay.
Developer but from the looks of it, I feel like it would be. And so the draw distance, meaning like how far you can see on like your graphics, right? Like past like 20 feet in game, things kind of get blurry a little bit. So I don't know. That's something I also noticed as well. Like a faraway tree would look in the background will look really blurry, but as you get closer, it gets more clear. So I don't know if that's something that it can fix, but other than that, it runs fine. So good job on them for finally being on PS5. Now more people can finally play this game and see how good it is. Now, another thing I wanted to go off of from that is, well, the environment and the new area, Renacida. Now, when they initially showed Renacida, I thought it looked cool, but I was a little skeptical. I was like, okay, it looks good, but I need to see more of it. And then they came out with a live stream, the dev live stream, and then they showed different areas of it. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what? It has some actually differentiating different, how do you even say that? They have different areas that look different from each other. Words. And when you, this is gonna sound so stupid, but when you see that on like a TV screen or like your computer screen, you're like, oh, okay, that looks cool. But once you actually play it and experience it yourself, then it's different. Yeah. Because when I first got to Renacida and like you get to like the open world, kind of like Breath of the Wild style, it's just like everything opens up to you. My jaw dropped, bro. My jaw dropped. It is absolutely.
Was a really good moment, actually. It was a really good moment. This was like almost like one of those like, wow, that's kind of gorgeous. Was it like taking me back to the moment when I first exited the vault in Fallout 3, which of course looks nowhere near as beautiful as this now, but that was just like, you know, one of those moments. And I feel like maybe for people who are younger, potentially that might give them one of those gaming moments, maybe.
Gorgeous. And all the different areas, there's one place that kind of looks like
the we were cursed. Everything on promotion looks good, but in game it looks 1,000 times better. Agree. We were talking about this yesterday, actually. I said that the splash art's gorgeous, but it just never does in-game stuff. It just always does it a disservice, doesn't it? Where, like, you know, with a game like Genshin, I feel like it's almost the opposite sometimes. And this is not to say the characters look trash in-game. It's just that, oh, the splash art's like, man, that looks gorgeous. And then you get in-game and it's like, it doesn't quite live up to it. It's like the total opposite for Wuthering Waves, which I feel like it's probably worse, that is really, because you're always going to, like, your marketing's never going to live up to what it is, which I guess will give you that benefit when you get into it and see how good it is. But, like, it's kind of I guess it's kind of a negative, though, to be fair, because people are going to look at that and go, that looks all right, but not really understand how good it actually looks like, you know?
Like, the archery from Elden Ring, where it's like a golden tree and, like, you see all these, like, petals of leaves just falling. Oh my god, it looks so good. And there's like other areas too that are like dark and misty, and they really upped it with a vibrancy as well, which I know a lot of people had also complained about. So they really, like
environmental effects
fixed that, I guess. I don't feel like they really needed to fix that too much, but I'm glad they did. But yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Like, exploring it has been so fun to do. There's just so many cool places to find. There's one like little town, spoiler alert, where you go to it and then at nighttime the lampposts turn into like these Luigi.
What's the thing? Because like we haven't really obviously I haven't done the companion quest for Carlotta yet, and I haven't done every little bit and piece, or I haven't even read all the little bits and pieces about it. But I'm thinking, is that potentially somebody's forte? You know, I was thinking, if that's somebody's forte that brings the lampposts kind of almost to life like that, it's a power of somebody's forte, and maybe we'll see that in the future. Because I thought that'd be kind of cool. So I saw some people discussing that, like, what the fuck are these lampposts, bro? Like, what are they? And I was like, I was sitting there thinking, that'd be kind of sick if that was somebody's forte power, you know, that we haven't met yet, and they have the ability to, like, I don't know, you know, almost not bring them to life, but like, you know, give life temporarily to inanimate objects, maybe.
Luigi's Mansion, Mario type Halloween things, and they make these weird like wow 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 like noises. It's so weird, but I love it. You know what I mean? So like, there's so many unique things to find. And speaking about exploration, I guess. Oh my god, dude, I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit embarrassed that I'm just glazing the game up. But like, one of my favorite things is the traversal. What they did with traversal, awesome.
Man, that's a dude who spent a long time playing Genshin, right? That's a dude who spent a long time playing Genshin. He's like, I'm almost feeling embarrassed about glazing the game up, you know? Because there's that's been there for a while, that like when you do glaze a game up, there's kind of actively got a finger in your ass all the time, that you feel a bit like silly to say. Man, the exploration in 2.0 is a massive step up. Massive step up. Like, you guys heard me commenting on this before. When open world games, they have a problem after a while, once you've played them long enough and you've explored a lot of the stuff, that the open world itself almost becomes a barrier, a bit of a distraction for content. And there's only really, for me, like Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1 as well, and like GTA, that kind of like have crafted worlds that are so immersive that you can just have fun within the world for ages, kind of just doing nothing. But like, I feel like we're not there, obviously. I'm not saying we're there, but I feel like just adding in the flight, adding in like the cuddle wuddle jumping, the bringing in the Lumi pause to sprint around, having those tacits that you can fly up into the air in, all these different ways of getting about makes it just so much more fun to bounce around the map. It's enjoyable.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When they had announced flying, I was like, flying? Really? Okay, how good is that gonna be? Yeah, I was wrong. It's amazing. At first, it takes a little bit of getting used to controlling it, but just being able to run, jump, use your grapple, jump up, and then spread your wings and fly, and then you're just flying around. Unreal, bro. They did such a great job with it. It is so fun. It never gets old. And the sights that you can see, like, is gorgeous. At one point, I was flying up into the sky, and you can see like the sun setting, and there's like clouds. I was playing as Camellia, and then if you do her skill, you like have the ropes and the vines. You can just like sit there. I was just sitting there in the air, just like looking over all of Renacida. Gorgeous. Absolutely cinema gorgeous. It's so cool. The flying is awesome. Like, it's actually addicting. Like, you just want to keep flying around. They did a great job with it, and there's like even cool things.
I agree on that, Zinthos, as well. The waves is good direction. Would still like to see more sub areas. I agree. Yeah, that did feel like its own little space. To be fair, I like that as well. Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Too, that you can like turn into different echoes for the exploration, and it just seems very fluid and natural to do. So yeah, they just knocked it out of the park with exploration and like the new area. I don't want to spoil too much for things that you can like find in it, but you'll be busy because it's huge, by the way. It's not like a small little thing. Like, it's a big map. But man, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm glazing it up. I'm just really happy. Like, it's just so good because I've always believed in WUWA, you know, since 1.0. I didn't think they would cook this hard, you know what I mean, with 2.0. I guess going off of that sentence,
you know what though?
2.0.
That's fair. Like, don't get me wrong. I expected 2.0 to be good. If I'm honest, it kind of like it was better than my expectations. If I'm honest, it was. You know, and that's not to say it's perfect. You know, or yeah, man. It was better than what I was expecting. It definitely was better than what I was expecting.
You know, like from 1.0 to 2.0, this drastic of a change and improvements, dude, I'm scared to see what they're gonna do for 3.0, like, and how they're just gonna keep going. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, like, oh, you got to be putting up bangers all the time, but like, I mean, they're really showing that they're listening to their community.
To be fair though, that pressure is there. I think the improvement from 1.0 to 2.0 was so vast, they've kind of like made a rod for their own back now, that expectation's kind of there now. Like, in myself, I try not to put too much of that on games and developers myself, but I'm like, yo, 3.0 better cook this hard as well, if I'm honest.
Adding and implementing things, which I'll talk about in a bit, like the quality of life stuff that they've added, but they're really like taking the feedback and they're just trying to make a game that people enjoy playing. I've had a lot of people in my chat calling WUWA like a Genshin ripoff, or it's just copying Genshin. My take on that is I don't think it is. More than one game is allowed to exist in a genre, guys. Okay, I don't know why that's hard for people to like understand that. On stream, the analogies I gave were like, okay, so then a turkey sandwich and a ham sandwich cannot exist or coexist in the sandwich family because they're too similar, right? The ham sandwich copied the turkey sandwich, just changed a couple of things. It just has ham on it versus turkey. Or, oh, the Honda Civic copied the Toyota Corolla. You know, like you can't, that Honda Civic is a clone of a Toyota Corolla, right? Like you just can't exist.
I do think 2.0's done a good job of giving Woo its own identity, though, you know? Because I think it's fair to compare the games, of course, you know, of course. And you guys know me. I've got no problems with taking inspiration from other stuff. No problem at all. I'm even down for a little bit of naughty plagiarism, personally. Like, if that's a good thing, rip it off, bring it into the game, improve upon it. Yeah, man, I definitely think 2.0 was set them on the road for this potential, like, divergence, if you will, where the game is getting a little bit more of its own identity now. And obviously, we'll see more of that as we go through the patch and then potentially what 3.0 can bring us. You know, I feel like, you know, we'll look back in a year's time and be like, damn, man, the game really, although there's always going to be that comparison there, which is fair, is really going to, like, be its own thing, I feel like, you know?
Exist. That's not fair. Like, that's the analogy I came up with. That makes sense in my head, right? But again, multiple things that are similar to each other can exist in the same genre. You see that literally everywhere. Windows and MacBook computers, shoes, like, I don't know. I love
Yeah, man. Adidas are just ripping off Nike, man. There's two of them. Like, couldn't they just be original and just sell you one? Like, come on, bro.
Genshin, obviously, that's my main content. But these devs on Kuro Games, like, really worked hard. And they made a game that I think can be a really good alternative to Genshin if you don't like Genshin, you know? And I
honestly, man, like, I just don't even see it as an alternative anymore. I never have, personally. You know, I see this Genshin's kind of like an alternative to Woo personally. But, you know, that's just the PvP inside my head.
think that's okay. Yeah, of course, there's similarities to it. But, I mean, you can argue that Genshin, you know, copies other games or copied other games, right? And you can keep going down the...
We've got a video coming out about this, actually, either tomorrow or Monday, actually talking about this, like this discussion about originality. What is it? Is it attainable? And is inspiration from other games just, you know, it's impossible to escape. So yeah, I'm looking forward to uploading that video. I want to get into more of these discussions on the channel, actually. You know, again, taking this theory crafting side of things and talking about, you know, these questions that the community like to throw at each other all the time, and actually breaking it down and you know, talking about the fact that a lot of these things that people argue about can just never be taken out of games in regards to, you know, this versus that and all that sort of stuff. Like, so yeah, I'm looking forward to starting to get into that more stuff.
The line of that, like, okay, then that game that copied this game and this game, like, guys, come on. Like, it's okay to have games that are similar to each other within the same genre. I don't think it's a Genshin ripoff. Yeah, of course, both are open world, anime-esque RPG guys.
How many amount of times have you played a game where you're like, if this game had this thing from this other game, it was so much better? And that's like kind of like what Wuthering Waves has done. It's took like the DNA of something like Genshin and added of all the things that somebody like me would prefer. For one, the combat, you know what I mean? You know, we've got a lot of things I liked in Genshin, but we've intermingled it in with obviously different stuff, but fundamentally the combat that runs through it is a major factor. You know, this is coming from, and again, I might have a bit of a different opinion than a lot of people. I remember, you know, when we was having the Battle Royale phase of like, everybody was making a Battle Royale. I was kind of happy about that. A lot of people was like, oh, it's, you know, too many Battle Royales, but I was like, I'm okay for a lot of shit to come out if here and there we get some gems, you know? And I think we did, you know what I mean? We did get some gems. Some of them are not around anymore, but you know, the best ones, I guess, have floated to the top. And I think it's the same with any genre, really. I'm totally fine with, like, trend chasing is a problem, but sometimes trend chasing gives us something really good, doesn't he? You know, one company will come along and be like, man, that's really working over there. Let's do our own version. And then they come out with something, it's like, you know, they come out with a gem.
Gotchas. One has a different combat system, different vibes, different story. So yeah, but like I said earlier, if you're not a fan of Genshin, or if you're bored of Genshin, or you want something different than Genshin, then you can try out Wuwa, and you know, it'll offer you different things. And then vice versa as well. You know, it goes both ways. If you're tired of Wuwa and you want to try Genshin or go back to Genshin, that's okay too. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
peace and love, right? Just like let things coexist. But that's
exactly. End of the day, you know, open world action RPGs are a genre. Open world action games are a genre. You know, I wouldn't want there just to be one. Oh, that's it now. You're an open world game. You want to have action orientated combat. You want to travel to different places. Sorry, can't do that. Been done before. Like, how trash would gaming be?
That's too much to ask for the gaming community, I guess. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm sorry, I keep ranting about it. But yeah, I don't even know why I went on that rant, by the way. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, I lost my train of thought.
And that was the chilliest rant I've ever seen in my life.
Some of the quality of life updates that they added were that you can craft anywhere. So you don't have to go to like a specific crafting bench to craft things anymore. You can just craft and synthesize things wherever, which I think is awesome. Super handy. Like, you never knew you needed it until you got it. And you're like, oh man.
Nah, I've always knew I needed it. That's one thing I've always knew I needed. He's like, oh fuck, I gotta go back to Jinzhou again.
Like,
definitely needed it.
This is awesome. Like, I never want to go back to a
chill
crafting bench in my life.
Just a chill guy, man.
That's a big W for me, especially if you build a lot of characters. Another quality of life thing that I think every gacha game should allow you to do is change the gender of your MC. So they added the opportunity for you to change from female to male.
There's no reason.
And vice versa. Once you do change, it does take 24 hours for you to change again, but I think that's awesome. It gives the player the options to do what they want. I think Kuro Games knows that like you need to be able to balance like the immersion of a game, but also that it is a video game, right? And there should be features that are, you know, good for the player and feel good for the player, right? So I appreciate that they added this option. Of course, you don't need to use it if you don't want to, but it's there for you if you do want to use it, which I did do. I was like, you know what? I've been doing female rover this entire time. Let me change to male and see how I like it. And I will say, I think the voice acting was slightly better. So there you go. There's also...
Yeah, I think that's everybody says that. And from what I've heard of the male VA, does sound better, but end of the day, you know, being female MC, man. Yeah, voice don't lie.
So an immersion mode where you can like get rid of your entire HUD system and it's just like a clean, you know, just like there's nothing on the screen other than the graphics of the game, right? Which Genshin already has that, but I like that they added it to Wuwa. So you can take really nice photos or just like be fully immersed or maybe do some fun challenges.
Yo, we need a photo mode that like Genshin Zenly Zone Zero's getting, man. You know, that action photo combat mode. That is fire.
Like, I tried playing Wuwa without the HUD. I don't know, but it's there if you want it. For me, it's kind of tough to play like that. I'm a noob when it comes to playing like that, so not for me, but it is there if for people who do want that. I think it's a cool little feature. Another big quality of life update that they added was exploring and rewarding you for exploring more. The more
we've spoke about this as well, Khan. I agree. I think there's is it the shortcut to turn it off? I think there's a shortcut to turn it off, but not to turn it on, right? Which is like, why? That makes no sense. Like, allow me to switch it on and off. I'd also like some control over it personally. Give me like an MMO style UI control, even not for the immersion mode, you know, so I can maybe potentially have certain aspects of the UI gone, scale, move, all that sort of stuff. That's always a big W for me in games. Not that it needs it, but personally, I just, you know, it's like the gender swap changes, isn't it? It's something that you don't need, but extra choice is always a good thing in video games, isn't it?
Where you explore in the game, it'll reward you for that. And all you have to do is go to your map, top left, and you'll see that like by region, which I think also makes exploring a little bit easier to track as well.
Yeah,
you also get rewarded for it as well. So, I mean, that's a win-win. So maybe finally I'll actually get my exploration up. Maybe. When it comes to leveling your characters,
I feel you there.
The option to...
I'm not a mint picker, man. I'm not a mint picker.
To fight bosses and do domains, like in early access before you've unlocked them, which other games already do that as well, but it's a nice feature that they added. Or again, I know I'm saying that other games already do this as well, but those games have been out longer. This game is only just hitting 2.0. Bear with me when I say that. I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just saying, you know, they finally added that. and very early on in the game's lifespan.
What happened to the chill weekend?
So that's very nice to see.
I'm not
So
a
yeah,
chill
if you
guy,
just
I
got
guess.
Carlotta, but you haven't finished the story and you want to level her, you can do so by, you know, early accessing, you know, certain boss fights and domains to build her. And it just makes building characters easier, so that's a win-win. And then another thing, they upped the level of your data bank to level 24. So when your data bank reaches level 21, the drop rate of 5-star echoes increases to 100%. So there you go, because they added a lot of new echoes to the new area for you to collect. So that was actually just pretty much natural for them to do, but I guess that does count as a quality of life thing, and I just wanted to mention it to you. There's a lot of other quality of life stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with it. You can just Google it, you know, just Wuthering Waves, quality of life 2.0, and you'll see like a bunch of lists of stuff. But they definitely added a lot of things, but those are like the major ones that stood out to me the most. And then I wanted to hop in a game real quick and show you guys just all the new events and stuff that they've added for 2.0's launch. And there's a lot of things to do. Like this patch is jam-packed with like a shit ton of things to do, which is great. And obviously that's pretty normal for like a big 0.0 patch. But yeah, I wanted to show you just what is in the event tab, and in case you don't have the game downloaded, just to see what you have to do. Obviously these will all give you rewards and stuff, but we got this one, although colors have no form. Looks like you'll enter like a painted world. This one actually just came out, and you'll get a talisman that transforms you into various echoes to help you out in battle. So that seems pretty fun. You got this new permanent event right here where you'll like collect stamps and stuff by exploring and doing different challenges and stuff like that, and you'll get rewards for it as well, which I actually have a few to claim. So let me claim those real quick, maybe. But yeah, you can see that it gives you like level up stuff and other credits and just different rewards just for playing the game and exploring the new area and stuff like that. You got this one right here, which is like a photo event. I think we get a photo event pretty much every patch, but they're fun to do. And again,
I don't know about that. I don't mind, like, I know this wasn't necessarily that, but when I'm talking specifically photo event modes now, which obviously this isn't, but the problem with me, no, this was the photo one, right? Whatever, anyway, whatever. I'm not a fan of photo modes personally. I don't mind them in new areas. Cool. Send me around taking pictures or just looking at certain stuff. Cool with that. But you know, when you're in an area that you've already explored and they're like, hey, go look at this stuff, it's just like, oh, really? Come on. It's like, you know, feels a little bit lame, that does, personally.
Again, it's something to do and you get more rewards for it. And like I said earlier in the video, Renacida is so beautiful that I think you'll have a lot of fun with this one. And then we got another one. It's a combat simulation. So fighting, and you get rewarded for it. And obviously they give us free pulls just for logging in. It's 5 radiant and 5 lustrous, which is pretty standard. They do that every time. Oh, I forgot to mention this actually. We got a new Genshin skin, and I wasn't gonna buy it originally because I think the skin is pretty, but like I like her original design more. But
yeah, I gotta agree, you know. I gotta agree, man. Let me move myself out the way of his face. I gotta agree, man. What is that all over the screen, man? Which one is it that's over the screen? That's not the one that's over the screen. How long's that been there for? Which fucking window is that? There we go. It's me thumbnails. It's because I'm heading over to that screen, see? Fucking thing. Right, let's get rid of that.
right.
Yeah, actually, sorry, going back to the skin. It's good, right? It's good. I made a video talking about the price, but I won't get into that because everybody fucking hated me for that. But, yeah, man, I think her original skin looks better. I'm not going to lie. I love all the VFX and that sort of stuff, but in terms of the overall design of the skin, I think the OG skin looks better. Just got to say.
Made me buy it, other than the fact that I do use Genshin a lot, is that the skin is not just a skin. It also changes the ult and your skill animations by adding more to it. Like they change the color of the dragon, they add fireworks, and for me that was enough to be like, okay, you know what? They went the extra mile, not just to make her look different, but also the animations to look different for her ult and stuff. I like that. I'm gonna give you my money. So that's what I did. So I think every gacha game should do that, actually, where it doesn't just change the look of them, but also they get new animations or something like that as well. So loved it.
Yeah, but Dono, that equates to work, doesn't it? Which at the end of the day, they don't want to do that. They want to change a color palette and say, here, $20, buy it. People do those, so, you know.
I did buy that skin. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We also have a new companion story for Carlotta, which
Still
I have
need
not
to get
done
around to
yet,
doing this.
but I hear
Still need to get around
is
to doing
very
it.
good. So I don't know. I haven't done it myself, but from what people are saying, it was really good. And yeah, pretty much everything else is pretty much standard. But yeah, this 2.0 update is packed, and it is cinema. And I know this entire video was just me glazing it. I mean, how can I not, man? I've been having so much fun with it, and I've been enjoying almost every second of it. So I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on it and whether or not it's worth downloading if you're a new player or a returning player. Because I've been getting that question a lot when I was like streaming it, which I always do whenever I stream something else other than Genshin. They're always like, is this game worth it? Is this game worth it? Which is a fair question. And I think you can already know what I'm going to say, which I always say in my other Wuwa videos. But in my other Wuwa videos, I have always said, yes, if it looks interesting to you, I think it's definitely worth getting and downloading and playing because I think it's a lot of fun. But more than ever for 2.0, it is definitely worth checking out. If it even looks a little bit interesting to you, download it. It's literally free to play. Just download it. I think they absolutely cooked with it. It is awesome. If you are bored of Genshin and you want to try something different, but kind of similar in a sense, try out Wuwa. You might like it better. Or if you're a new player who's never even played a gacha game, this one's a really good one to try. And like I said earlier, the difference between 1.0, which I do feel like it kind of hurt the launch of this game, to 2.0 now, in this short amount of time, they knocked it out of the park. Like, for real. They really did. There are parts.
Well, to think as well, every 6 months, we're going to get a major update. And that doesn't necessarily equate to whole new nation, but the fact that every 6 months, we're going to get a big update, whether it's like a 2.0 or 3.0, but we're going to get a big update. You know, the fact that they've announced that, what? Be interesting to see where we are in 6 months' time.
To me, that wish the game had launched this way, but very rarely do games launch at like its peak, and that's the whole point of progression, right? And getting better during its lifespan. But to get this much better in this short amount of time, like, I still feel like Wuwa should have won Mobile Game of the Year. But yeah, they did an incredible job with 2.0. Let me know in the comments down below if you're playing Wuwa and what you think of 2.0. I honestly have not been able to going into this video, I was like, I really want to try to find some negatives that I have. And the only negatives I really had were PS5 performance is not 100% like amazing.
Why would you think like that though? Why would you think I gotta go in and finding some negatives, man? You know?
It's good. Like, there's some, like, obviously frame drops. Some parts of the story were like a little too stretched out and a little boring. But other than that, man, like, there's really nothing to complain about. If you have any complaints, please put them down in the comments and I'll read them and I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or, you know, like, oh, I didn't really see it that way. But if you have some like negatives and positives about the 2.0 update, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear you guys out. And if you're mad that I was glazing this game so much for this video, well, get over it because the 2.0 update is amazing and I stand by that. And no, this is not a sponsored video. So those are my true honest thoughts on the 2.0 update. It's definitely worth downloading. It's definitely worth playing more than ever. Now is the time to get into it. And I think they're only going to get better and better because they're showing that they're really listening and just trying to make the game
Devs
better.
listened.
You know what
Devs
I mean?
listened.
Like, it's just fun.
Complaining about how they murdered Calcharo. It's been going on since day one though, isn't it, man? You know, the biggest disrespect in gacha gaming history, right?
That's the whole point.
Probably not,
It's a
but
video
still.
game. It's to have fun. Anyway, I'm yapping now. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the video. Oh, and I forgot, if you want to catch me live while I play these games and where I make all my content pretty much, twitch.tv/Doro44, where I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. So link down below. Anyway.
Yeah, you know what? Fair video, man. Fair video. I always like to see it from content creators who like specifically necessarily do a different game. And I think Genshin creators are always a good one to go to because, one, Obviously, I don't think most of them necessarily feel like this. Some of them do, but you know, they play to an audience sometimes, and you know, Doro has been accused of that sometimes. So it's nice sometimes just to see, right, then let's see what they've got to say. You know, I think he was totally fair in this video. To be fair, I think he gave a fair account of his seemed like genuine feelings of the update. Again, I feel like it's gonna be like quite obvious that you kind of just shitting on the game for a reason if you come out with an overly negative video about this patch. Now, of course, there's specific things that you can definitely be like, this sucks, this didn't work great, especially like depending on performance on PlayStation, and obviously specific little things in the game. But I think if it's like you know, totally wildly negative, I think it'd kind of be quite transparent. Now, obviously, there's subjective opinions on games where just it for me, bro. You know, so yeah, I like to see these videos from the other side, if you will. His comments seem to be quite normal. It's good to see. Quite normal. To be fair though, I think Doro's community seem pretty alright anyway, don't they? From what I've noticed, at least. Anyway. But anyway, that was Doro44, guys. Check him out. Show him some love. Show him some love. Speaking of which, I need to do my daily Cal channel farm. Cal who? Cal who? Right. The disrespect, man.
Felt like
what they done to my boy. What they done to my boy, you know? My boy got absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Shocking. Shocking. I need to clear out my watch later playlist. There's 1113 videos in there. Yeah, actually needs wiping. I'm gonna do that today. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna wipe out my watch later playlist so I can actually you know, put things in there that we want to check out. Give me a second here, chat, before we get into the next one. Where's that video gone? Because it's not.
good old tech.
Okay, I do want to check that video out. I do want to check that one out. Hold up a second, guys. Hold up a second, guys. The worst debate in Gacha history. Which is this? Yeah, hold up a second. We're not going to watch this video because it's an hour and 44 minutes long. But I'm curious to see what this video is about. A second. Okay, this is
That's
not what I thought it was. I thought it was the conversation that went down with Pokey. I think it was Captain Cabinets, Ethan, Connor, and V. I think. Yeah, that video was just like, yeah, I was just like, okay, I kind of wasted my time watching that video, if I'm honest. Not gonna lie, love all those creators, but it was one of those videos where I was like, what did I just watch, bro? What did I just watch here? You know? I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know Ethan's posted it. I know Pokey's posted it. I think Captain Cabinets has posted it as well. But it was just like they were talking about obviously the power creep situation in Star Rail, and it was a good conversation. I like to see conversations in the space, but after watching it, I was just like, I felt like I wasted an hour really there. I really do. Yes, I'm going to check that out. I came into that stream. I hopped into Smack's stream literally as I was just getting off call together. So yeah, I'm interested. I'll probably watch that maybe later or tomorrow or something because the football's on tomorrow. So probably won't be streaming tomorrow. Depends on what time the kickoff is actually. Actually, what time do Man U and Arsenal play? Oh, 3. Nice one, babe. Yeah, so yeah, I'll be watching the football tomorrow. Have you seen the Mr. Pokey drama? What's that, babe? Yeah. Have you seen the Mr. Pokey drama that was only such a bad take? We're talking about the power creep situation here. Like after watching like that debate that they had, I think Mr. Pokey had a lot of good points because he knows a lot about Star Rail. But at the same time, I think he's coming from an experience of a player who's got everything. And I think sometimes, I see this from all the creators, that they talk about the game in a specific way because I think they have a little bit of a, it's almost like how rich people talk about society sometimes, because they get like, they end up getting this detachment because they don't see it from the other side anymore. They try to, but they don't quite see it, if that makes sense. So like it's hard to listen to what they're saying, because it's like, you know, it's like listening to a millionaire tell you about how life's difficult in regards to getting through your event and things are expensive and, man, cost of living crisis, right? You know, it's like, oh yeah, no, bro, it's hard, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like 2 months ago, I got a $100 character skin on Terra Fantasy that was in drop price, changing visual effects and weapon skin on top of that. It cost me basic currency and 15 pulls cost. Got too cheap now. It's coming from a very privileged position that's only applicable if you acquire everything. That's the shit I got from the Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I think Pokey made a lot of valuable points in regards to, you know, his viewpoint of the game and being able to do certain stuff within the game, you know, and his argument about, I think I got a lot from Pokey as well. Like, you know, that there's, and I do agree. You know, I do think sometimes free-to-play players in the gacha space do think that they're owed the ability to get access to everything. Now, I know that's a minute part of the community, but I've seen it plenty of times. I do think some free-to-play players think, well, I should be able to pull on everything. I should be able to, you know, do everything with ease. But yeah, I need to watch some of the other videos going through it, really. But like the debate kind of like I was just like, okay, we're talking about power creep. Yeah, it's a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree. I think Pokey's kind of sees it like from a different perspective, because he's kind of sitting on his golden gilded chair in a way. But at the same time, I think he had a lot of good points. That's why I do want to watch that Smack video of him talking, because is that what they were talking about? Were they talking about the power creep stuff within Star Rail? You know, I don't really want to speak on it too much, because like I say, I understand power creep and I understand where Star Rail was going, but I haven't played the game for a while now, so I don't like to speak on things too much, because I feel like I'm talking shit then. You know, I can't really comment on it too much, because I'm kind of just chatting shit, really. And I think a lot of people have been doing that recently with Star Rail. To give credit to Star Rail, I think there's still issues in the game, of course, but I do think a lot of people who stopped playing Star Rail like 6 months ago are talking about Star Rail as if they're still involved in Star Rail on a daily basis. I think some people do that with Genshin as well, if I'm honest. Which is fair to call out the issues, but some people speak on the game as if they're still playing it, like, you know what I mean? And they're just hearing what other people are saying about the game sometimes. I think sometimes if you're going to go that in depth, you probably need to get back into things to see how it actually feels yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to Zinthos. I'm definitely going to check it out. I am, yeah. Because, I saw a lot of people under Ethan's video as well saying, I don't like Mr. Pokey. I like Mr. Pokey, I do. I like him. I think he's a good content creator. And I also think, don't get me wrong, dude is an instigator, which I've got no issues with. But I also think he has some very good takes sometimes in regards to the game. And, hey, there's one thing you can't say about Mr. Pokey. Dude knows Star Rail. You know what I mean? The dude knows Star Rail. So, like, you know, I think sometimes you gotta like, I think his view on the game is definitely something that deserves some respect. Okay, 2 months ago, so must have missed that. I'm glad they've dropped the price for you guys. The Golden Throne. Pokey's level-headed and he gets so much brain rot from his chat that he just delivers these borderline egotistical takes for some reason. I think sometimes he's doing it, he's amping up for the content, isn't he? But yeah, his chat can be, his chat is dented, man. His chat is dented. He's a bit of a flame baiter, though. Agree. I like Pokey. The problem is he can't take a shot back. Like, I thought, it's like I say, though, dude, like, said, I ain't doing this shit anymore, but he's leaning into doing it more, because I did say that initial post that I thought he put up on Twitter. I was like, that's bait, that is. That's bait. And I think it was bait, you know what I mean? I think it was bait. You know, part of me, though, I kind of respect that, though, you know what I mean? Anyway, should we check out this video from this smaller creator here, shall we? It looks like it's got a bunch of views for somebody who's got less than 500 subscribers, so I'm interested here. This is from Vincent Remar, The Divine Comedy of Wuthering Waves 2.0. I've got no idea what this video is about, but I see it's doing well. A lot of likes, so I'm curious to see what they're talking about here. I've got no context to what we're looking at here, guys, so this might be a wild one. I don't know. Let's have a look, though.
So it's been 7 months since the launch of Wuthering Waves, and while my first video...
Hey, yo, look, man. Where is it?
Since the launch of Wuthering
Agree. Big agree. Something about the white hair characters in this game. It's a problem, man. It's a problem, and I'm here for it. That is me. That is me.
Waves, and while my first video about it was focused on my disappointment with the game as a whole due to the fact that it felt like starting a new Genshin Impact account from scratch, I do have to say that I am surprised to have stuck with it afterwards. I've been playing the game almost daily, leveling my account, doing the events, and nabbing as many characters as I possibly can without going bankrupt. And here we are at the start of 2025, Happy New Year by the way, with the launch of Wuthering Waves 2.0 patch, bringing us the entirely new region of Renacita, new story, new characters, and new echoes to grind and rage about because all of the tuners went into stats I don't need.
Bro, like, see, again for me, man, the tuners in a problem. It's the fucking XP. I have got like 5k tuners though, so, you know, but to be fair, Shorekeepers allowed me to be incredibly lazy in regards to echoes. Hopefully we get a new sustain soon as well that's just like broken, you know, comes out broken, allows me to be lazy once again. Come on, Kuro, give it me. Allow the Holy Maiden to just be this ridiculous buffer, and I'll be a happy, happy boy.
I honestly can't believe that we have an entirely new region only 7 months after launch. That has to be like a new world record or something. So, what are my thoughts on the major 2.0 patch? Well, stick around because what I'm about to say might surprise you. As I mentioned before, I was very disappointed with Wuthering Waves at
Remember
launch.
saying no to Shorekeeper.
I wanted a good game with amazing combat that is something different from Genshin Impact. The combat was, and still is, top-notch, offering some of the most satisfying action combat available in the Gacha space right now.
However, combat. You know, look, I think... Well, let me know what you're... I think that the pickings are kind of slim now when we go to action combat. For me, though, I think the 3 top spots, it's got to be Wuwa, Zenless, and PGR, right? It's got to be, man. Like, what else? Aether Gazer has got to have a little bit of a mention in there because I think the combat's great in Aether Gazer, although I can't enjoy it to the maximum at the moment because I'm forced to use a pad because they still haven't implemented the adjustments to the mouse and keyboard controls. But yeah, it's like, oh man, it's hard to say. I feel like Wuwa might be number 1. And then, I don't know though, man. It's like, I don't know. It's really close, man. They're all really good. I'm going to maybe put Zenless in 3rd person. I'm going to maybe put 3rd place, sorry. But it's like, it's close. Like, it's really close. And I know a lot of people don't like Zenless's combat. I kind of like it though, man. I think it's fun. I really do think it's fun. It's different, but I think it's fun. I know people don't like the switching characters to parry sort of stuff, like you know, but yeah, man, I'm a big fan, big fan of Zenless.
Similar to Genshin's game loop, from the exploration to the domains.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kuro does the combat best in this space.
Teleporter spread across the map.
Genshin Impact 30 is also good. Still need to play that game.
I was very disheartened to see how many similarities there were between the two. What kept me going then? Well, to be honest, not much, and I entertained the idea of quitting the game multiple times throughout the past months, but the more I played, the more invested I became, finding the fun in how convenient traveling and finding all the chests was. While I still have gripes with how the endgame focuses on time attack fights, especially with bosses like Fallacy of No Return and Inferno Rider, wasting precious time with their flying or transition phases, this game has earned its place in my
You guys know me when it comes to State of Adversity. I think he's mid.
Without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Welcome to Venice, Italy, where you'll figure out that you don't know how to cook pasta properly and you've never actually tasted real pizza before. The Vatican has actual angels patrolling the streets, so you better say your Hail Marys and Our Fathers 3 times a day, lest you end up with an entire army of halo-bearing soldiers on your doorstep. Wait, no, those are the wrong angels! Wrong angels! The reason for our visit is to, find God. I'm not joking. That's literally what you have to do. Physically. So what better place to find God than the Vatican itself, the actual house of God? We're greeted with great fanfare. They were only missing the flute guy and everything would have been perfect. Problem is, God's not there. Go figure. They're literally hitting us with the, sorry Rover, but our God is in another castle spiel. Being the uncontested geniuses that we are, we conclude that our next destination on our path to finding God is the local bank. If you would like me to elaborate on the reason as to how we came to that conclusion, I think it was something about something money being the root of all evil. Biting my fucking tongue. Our unstoppable greed couldn't be controlled, however, and in a desperate attempt to get something to sell on the black market for more astrites, we tried to steal some of the artifacts held within and trigger an alarm. What the actual... Hey look, it was either this or selling my last kidney, and I still need that. The church finds out about this, and since stealing is a sin, sentences us to life imprisonment in hell. Crime doesn't pay, folks. Not content with our lot in life, we pick up our sword and decide to fight the demons of hell until our dying breath. Except... Oh, did it just fire rockets? We get help from Hubba
Interesting interpretation. Interesting interpretation.
Bubble Tape over here. Now safe, we make a pact with the
Bubble
demon
tape,
and
you
get
know.
Bubble chewing gum as our guide through hell, much like the Virgil to our Dante's Inferno. The game, not the poem, because just like everyone else on the internet, I can't read. Don't want to sell you.
I guess the reference in terms of you know, the underworld in that regards to that area, you know, it's not lost on me actually.
Ugh, culture. The more we follow her, the more I feel she's not really a good guide because she keeps leading us into ambushes. I think I just found Satan. Virgil, where in the actual hell did you take me? And who the hell is this himbo? Protect me, my waifu squad! In nomine Patris et Filis et Spiritus Sancti, I exorcise
Fuck is this mean, bro?
you! Begone, Satan! Phew, thought I was gonna die there for a second. Wait, can you even die in hell? Oh, look who's done hiding. Orbit Bubblemint Gum, I am never following you anywhere ever again. You suck as a guide. I'm better off taking my chances with this other dude. Let's go. And that, dear viewer, is how I got out of hell. What's that? You didn't ask? Well, neither did I. So, I'm not going to sit here and spoil every piece of story content available in patch 2.0,
That was
but
alright.
I wanted to show off a few bits and pieces here and there because I actually think they did a good job this time around. There were a few slow moments along the way, but overall I can say that they had a good build-up that led to a satisfying conclusion with some twists and turns sprinkled in and even set
So,
up
I don't know,
future...
I keep hearing people saying this about there being slow moments. Maybe it's because I broke my playtime up over a couple of days. You know, like, I'd be interested to hear, like, from people that have these slow moments. Like, if you did have a slow moment, you felt it was slow at times, was you playing it in one go? Was you trying to bash through the story all in one go? Because I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe like I'm being biased or I'm forgetting moments where it felt slow, but I definitely didn't feel like there was slow moments in this story personally for me. Now that might become from the part that I actually found the story very intriguing personally. You know, don't get me wrong. This isn't Lord of the Rings, but like I found this story actually interesting. I was curious to see, okay, let's see what's happening. I want to find out what the crack is with the Sentinel. I really want to know what's going on with the Holy Maiden. You know, I want to learn about what happened in the Dark Tide and the battles that went on, because that sort of stuff interests me. So like, I never felt like I was like, oh, you know, this is slow. Personally, obviously, of course, that's total preference and perception. You know, something what's slow to somebody might not be slow to somebody else. Something that's building up to a particular set piece could be seen as, you know, a build up that's paced perfectly from somebody. Somebody else might see it as, man, shit, this is fucking boring. So like, you know, I'm not saying this is a fact. Yeah, I just didn't feel it, man. You know what I mean? I didn't have no slow moments personally. Yeah, I didn't have slow moments, in my opinion. Probably people rushing it and feeling tired, which makes it feel slow. It's just being tired. That's fair. No, there was definitely slow parts of 2.0. Really, which parts did you actually find like you felt you're like, oh, come on, speed it up here? I think the old laureate guy was a slow point. Oh, you mean when we got to the troops little spot? I suppose I can see where you're coming from there. I didn't find it, because I actually found it kind of really... I liked him, I did. So, like, I suppose I didn't find it slow for me, personally. But again, this, like, just because I see it like that, you know, nobody's wrong in these sort of things, are they, really? I took my time with the story. It took me, I think, like 3 days to do. I didn't find it slow at all. Yeah, I think that was about the same with me. I think I did it over 3 streams, I think, personally. Two exposition heavy through first 2 acts. Really? Okay. All right, interesting. Same, I played it in the span of 3 days. I'm so excited for the Holy Maiden. Yes, I'm really looking forward to the Holy Maiden. I really am. I think she's going to be a cool character. A design, not my biggest pro personally. I don't think it was an amazing design for her, but I am excited to see her as a character. Act 3 was a good pace. Okay, fair. I do agree. Yep, the old guy is one that spoils the pacing because it's before the climax. Okay, all right. See, like, I actually kind of like that, because it was almost like it was setting up what we were going to do for the final act, wasn't it? I suppose where I could say that I can kind of agree was where, you know, when you had to just go and collect the 3 parts. I was like, okay, pointless, I guess. But I didn't really feel it myself. But I can understand why people would feel like that. Definitely, yeah, I could definitely see that.
Of the next story very nicely without.
To be fair, the
relying
calm
on
before the
some
storm. Yeah,
sort
that's
of
kind of what I
abrupt
saw it
cliffhanger.
as.
It was actually pleasant to take
Again, no, this is a perfect thing with opinions, isn't it? You know, we've all got a different way of viewing something, so, you know, fair.
part in it. Kura Games continues to do their best when it comes to in-game cutscenes, using a variety of techniques to make every character interaction interesting, instead of implementing the overused sit around and spout exposition style of storytelling. You actually see the characters move or dance or take a bow or whatever it is that.
I had a problem with this though. You know, if you're gonna give me QTEs in a game, right? If you're gonna push me through QTEs, allow me to fail. If not, just let the cutscene play out. Stop making me pretend that I'm actually doing something. Because when I did it, I purposely skipped every single one. Guess what? Nothing happened. You know, if you're gonna give me that option in a game, you know, a QTE should be able to fail. You know, you fail it, your character falls down, you step on a toe, something like that. She ends up in the drink. I don't know. It doesn't have to be that serious. But if you're going to give me a QT in a game, allow me to fail it. Otherwise, no point, you know? No point at all. So that was definitely a negative because they could have just had this happen in a cutscene. Personally, there was no need to have the QTEs because they did fuck all. So
that they are doing at that point in time, and each gesture is a unique representation of that character's emotions and personality. There are many custom poses and emotes created for specific in-game cutscenes that might seem like nothing much by themselves, but when brought together
Which was
as
the
a
best part of the
whole,
story.
they
I really
do
enjoyed that
enhance the
part as well.
experience and make it that much more entertaining to watch and convince you to stick around rather than causing you to click the skip button.
There's too much of a setup for an underwhelming payoff, like they're setting up for stuff for 2.0 onwards. Well, they are. They definitely are. But I can understand you seeing it like that. I didn't see it like that. But yeah, they are, aren't they? Really, this was the introduction. This was almost, I guess, a prologue and chapter 1, I suppose, wasn't it? With a bit of a, like you say, a bit of a climax. It's not the full climax. So it's probably going to be slightly underwhelming, I guess, really, in comparison to what we're probably going to get. Also, the QT of the dancing meaning nothing was sad. Agree. Also, I thought this quick time event, which was nothing right for real. Hell now, the payoff was epic when we met the Holy Maiden. I agree. I really like that. Sultry was disappointed when Carlotta didn't fall on the floor. Right, it was like, what? Why, man? Why? Yeah, I stopped after the first one. Like, I feel like I can't and don't want to keep up and click it. Right? It's like, what? It's just, it doesn't make sense, does it? It's like, if you're going to put QTs in a game, it's not a quick time event, you know? It's literally not a quick time event. It's just press a button and pretend I'm doing something, really.
Actually impressed with the amount of action happening in the in-game cutscenes. It's to be expected in the pre-rendered ones, but actually being able to see the characters act outside of those pre-rendered cutscenes makes them that much more alive to me. Of course, with a new major patch comes a new map, and this place is full of chests to find, puzzles to solve, and side quests to do. While I haven't experienced much of the exploration or side quest content currently available, I did notice that you have more trackers that will help you easily look up what chests or loot you still need to find before you 100% a region. And speaking of 100%ing regions, new rewards have been added for doing so. You should already have some ready to collect if you fully explored the previous region, so make sure to pick those up. Another noticeable change is the world design. Where Huanglong felt gray, lifeless, and uninspired, Renacita is the exact opposite. Colorful, full of life, and full of artistic inspiration.
I want to go as far to say
I've
uninspired.
seen many beautiful landscapes throughout my time in Renacita that made me stop and appreciate them. The design itself...
I definitely wouldn't say, like, grey, lifeless, or uninspired. I think there was obviously places that felt... that did feel like post-apocalyptic, but you know, there was definitely places that felt full of life in Huanglong, in my opinion. I do believe that Renacita is much more alive. Yeah, I gotta disagree with that. I don't think it was grey, lifeless, or uninspired personally.
Itself is more elaborate, the colors pop out more, and the atmosphere it creates is more noticeable and believable than ever. I can definitely say that
This
I'm
area
very
is just
happy with how
absolutely
their
gorgeous.
approach to world design has evolved. The most mind-blowing addition for me was the new flight mechanic. I can't believe they added this. It makes traversal so smooth, so fast. It has its own separate stamina bar, so you can parkour all the way until you run out of your own stamina, then just jump into flight. It feels so good. I heard you can increase the flight stamina by getting some collectibles spread across the map, but even if that wasn't the case, I already think the amount of stamina we currently have is more than enough for any of your traversal needs, unless you want to fly all the way from one end of the map to the other. The new echoes look great. I'm not a fan of the plushies, I'll be honest, but I do enjoy the masquerading musketeers quite a bit.
Yeah,
and
the
don't even get me
dancers are cool.
started on the opera singer echo. She looks divine. The new characters look great, and they do a banging job of moving the story forward. I still don't like that almost every important character you meet is more than willing, almost desperately so, to be on your team and help you out and worship the very ground.
Yeah, again, I agree with these. I would like us to have, a person join our team that's doing it because it benefits them, and they don't really like it, they're just not a fan of us. We're a dickhead to them. I'd like to see that a little bit more in the game. Like, hopefully when we travel to some places, things that Rover's done in the past have negatively affected this person or the people around them. So, like, we meet them and they're like, right, we've got something we need to do together. Well, I'm not going to forget the stuff that you did. And maybe our introduction to them is a combative introduction, and they almost fill a role as like an anti-hero, or maybe not even an anti-hero, but just somebody who's like, they're knockheads with the Rover. I feel like that'd be far more interesting, because I've had so many people, like I've spoke about, that for me, I think the progression of the Rover's been kind of poor. It's got a little bit better in this update personally, but I think the Rover's a boring character, which I understand. The other characters should be more interesting, because at the end of the day, it's a gacha game. But like, people have said, well, it's a protagonist, it's the MC, that's what it's supposed to be. And I'm like, well, no, some of the most interesting main characters are interesting because they're interesting, because they don't always make the right decision. They're flawed, they have issues. And I get it, it's a self-insert, but, we're flawed. I don't necessarily need a power fantasy. Now, I know some people want that. Well, I think you can have a power fantasy in a character that's human in the fact that they make mistakes as well, and not everybody likes them, because that's life, isn't it? I think it's a bit more immersive in that regard, rather than trying to put your footsteps in somebody who's just perfect, they popped out the womb like, hey, everybody loves me. I think it'd be much more interesting if we've got a little bit more variety in that regard.
You walk on while giving you the raunchiest bedroom stare you've ever seen in your life. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I like to be able to build a rapport first before putting the bread in the oven. That, and if they're always so keen on being allies with you, how am I going to experience one of my favorite tropes since Dragon Ball Z, the enemies to allies trope?
Yeah.
But yes, that tangent aside, the characters...
And there is nothing wrong with tropes. I hear people say this, man. It's how you implement the trope, isn't it? It's how you implement the trope. And it's just variety at the end of the day as well, isn't it?
Are great, and the GP voice acting is great. Yes, I am a filthy sub-enjoyer, sue me. Still talking about characters, I am once again in awe of the quality that goes into the Wuthering Waves character models. They just look so sharp and so well defined, and the rigging is done so well that they can use these models in cutscenes without any issues, and it still looks amazing. Especially her. Yes,
Bruh.
I am a filthy sub-enjoyer. The new bosses are interesting both aesthetically and as challenges to overcome, especially the final boss of the main quest. She is an entire spectacle in and of herself.
She's
I
gorgeous.
haven't tried my hand at the new holograms yet, but I've heard good things already, so I'm looking forward to the fights.
Yeah, I
themselves.
need to, actually, at the end of yesterday's stream, right at the end, I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do a bit of the hollows. I did up to 5. I failed first 2 attempts at 6. But we're going to get back down. I don't know if we're going to do them today, but we are going to go and clear the new holograms as well, because that's the only 2 now left to finish off in the game.
What else? Oh yes, the atmosphere around the main city is amazing. It's so full of life and music and characters going about their days, echoes doing nice little stunts for the entertainment of passers-by. And speaking of NPCs, there is a decent variety of characters that have very unique designs. and are
Really
extremely
good-looking
memorable.
NPCs.
Whether it be the blonde photographer with film reels coming out of his hair, the red mage-looking writer that looks like he'd fit well in a Gundam anime,
Yo, Christopho could straight up be a 4-star resonator, man.
or the literal Pope himself, these NPCs will stand out among the crowd. To conclude, I know it's already an overused cliche at this point, but
I feel like if they leaned into the Bloodborne thing with him, with having him some kind of like cool looking shotgun type ranged weapons, like, man, that'd be fire.
cooked with this update. I honestly had to forcefully tear myself away from the game to make this video because I just wanted to keep playing the game as much as possible and level up my Carlotta. Yes, I got her, yes! So, if you're a new player looking to start or an old player that gave up on the game a while back and are looking to make a return, now is the time. And if by any chance you don't
time to get back into the game or get into the game
to complete the previous region, fret not, my child, for you can begin your quest to find God immediately upon login. But that's gonna be it for this video. Join us next time when the festivities begin in full and we meet literal Jesus. If you've enjoyed this sanity-lacking montage, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, have a good one.
Hey, you know what? Don't agree with everything they said in that video, but that was a good video, man. You know what? I'm going to drop a sub for that. Small content creator, less than 500 subscribers and making high-quality video like that. That was some high-quality H2O right there. Guys, if you haven't checked them out, Vincent Remar or Remar, go show him some love, man. Go show him some love. Good video. I liked it. Enjoyed it. Good quality. Good quality. Good quality. Actual best time to start. Agree. Yeah, yes, I did do the survey. Yes. I did, yeah. I mean, they could create a somewhat story to rework on them and make them even 5-star sometimes. Yeah, yeah. Even the premise of NSE we get some special treatment. Yeah, that's like I'd like to go to an area in the game, even if it's a sub-region, you know, within region, where, I don't know, like, we're this powerful character, right, that's an arbiter, that's been going through history, you know, making decisions, committing to things that, you know, are going to affect everybody, aren't they? And I like the idea that we're not perfect. Maybe we've made decisions, because, like, let's face it, the rover has a very human sense of a moral compass and a way to be, don't they? You know, from at least what we've got from them anyway. You know, even though they aren't necessarily immortal, they do have that, like, you know. And if it's a self-insert, I think it would be great to have the rover in the past. Maybe it's not necessarily a mistake or a bad decision, but just a decision that negatively affected a group of people. So when you go there, you know, it's kind of like, hey, bro, we fucking hate you, you know? Like, a bunch of people died years ago or starved years ago, or, you know, that thing that you did, it just fucked us up pretty much. And I'd like to see that. I would like to see that. I think it'd be interesting personally. And again, I know it's a trope, but you know, it'd just add something to the game, wouldn't it? Like, we go somewhere and it's like, oh man, we're getting side eyes left, right, and center. You know, people are begrudgingly working with us, maybe, or even turning us away until potentially we've proved ourselves in some degree. I think it'd be interesting. You know, I do think it'd be interesting. I would like some patches as well dedicated to playing as some other characters. That makes sense. Like, you know, like, part of a patch, we're going off and playing as these other resonators, and we maybe hear about what Rover's up to, and then we do like a hidden quest line like in PGR, where we go back and actually play as the Rover in that point, and that'd be cool. But I agree. Yep. Actual best time to start the game. Facts. Facts. All right. Let's check out this video then, shall we? From Bobby Lee. Guys, Saint is back with another video. We're going to check it out. I'd love to see an Eileen type character in WoW. I hope Kuro slowly forget the CN side that complained about it in 1.0 and get courage to do that. Yeah, it's like, will that ever happen though? I don't know. This is why I say, especially if you're not from China, it's great to have a game that's doing, you know, comparably well in every single region, you know, where one region doesn't get to dominate it. Now, as somebody who doesn't care about how much a game that I'm playing makes, as long as the game's good, you know, I don't want the game I'm playing to be making infinitely more money, but only making it in one region. I'd rather than be making 75% less money, but each region's kind of comparable, so every region gets listened to the same, rather than the one region. Because at the end of the day, I don't judge Huyo for listening to China, because why wouldn't they? That's where all their money's coming from. So, like, hopefully it continues that global competes with China in Wuthering Waves, and hopefully, as somebody who's obviously Western, you know, it'd be cool if it started to make a lot more money. So, you know, we got a little bit more of a balance thing, and China wasn't the arbiter, if you will, pardon the pun, on what happened in the game. MC didn't look as much alive in personality to be hated, really. He's just there. He should do something to attract the hate from someone. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you know, they made a decision that they thought was the best decision, but it ended up people died because of it or something like that. You know what I mean? Yo, Neil, what's going on, dude? I hate all these titles that we're talking about. Oh, okay. My main question about the rivalry is why the fuck do they talk at random moments in the story like it's so jarring? Yeah, I feel you sometimes, yeah. CM will always dwarf any other region. I don't know, because they don't necessarily dwarf the other regions with Wua, do they? It's actually kind of comparable. You know, I can't remember the stats, but I think there's been points where CN's been second, hasn't he? Right? And when it's usually first, it's not by a massive degree either. Of course, you know, 1.4 billion people or whatever many is in China. Only got our 10% of the country playing any particular game, and it's, you know, it's a lot of people, isn't it? You know, it's almost, well, double the population of this country. How you doing anyway, though, Neil? Taint Sontas. Yo, what's up, Matt? All right, let's check this video out then, shall we? Tectone saved Wuthering Waves. Did the bald man do something? Did the bald man do something? That's what Voldemort's been up to.
Good old Tectone, good old Techless is back at it again. With
Bobby Lee back at it again.
Regarding both Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact. You know he loves doing those. And this time it's about some of the hate that Genshin Impact has been getting. And to be honest, there are a lot of reasons for why Genshin Impact deserves the hate. Most recently, as far as, you know, everyone is aware, Genshin Impact does have the most predatory banner system in gacha gaming currently running right now. 2 new...
Does he? Does he? I don't know, does he? Oh man, there's some predatory games out there. You know, I've heard the Love and Deep Space is very predatory. Although I haven't played it, so I can't say. I've heard some people saying Infinity Nikki actually has some really predatory systems in it as well. FGO as well, another game I haven't played, but I've heard that's insanely predatory. I could be wrong on that, though. You know? HSR is kind of crazy as well nowadays, not gonna lie. I finally got a double crit rate, crit damage echo. Oh, let's go. I love it. Saints has become Bobby Lee for everyone. Well, hold on, that's not true. Yeah, exactly right. I've heard some stuff about FGO that's a little bit wild. FGO is again. I'm only hearing it through the grapevine because I haven't played it, so I can't say that for a fact, you know?
New characters.
So take it with a pinch of salt.
And Mavuika arriving in the 5.3 patch, and the rewards for their lantern right, 20 pulls that should be used to secure those characters, reserved for after their banners.
Yeah, that does suck.
That's one of the big reasons.
That does suck. And let's not pretend that 20 pulls is going to reserve the character for you, though, at the same time. We've got to be honest. But it is shitty that they're like, hey, here's 2 banners. We're going to give you pulls after the banners, okay? It's just like, what, bro? Come on.
Reasons for why people might not like the patch. There's also all the reasons, you know, including like the story, the development, the characters, Mavuika in general compared to all of the other Archons. Let's just think about it this way. There are a lot of reasons for why Genshin Impact players themselves might not like Genshin Impact, as well as the other members of the gacha community. And so Tectone took some time to address why that hate is happening. And there have been a lot of creators, right? Mr. Pokey in particular.
To be fair, though, for me, if you don't play Genshin, right? If you don't play Genshin, I suppose you could look at it 2 ways. If it does really well, which it still is, you know, I suppose you can say the community's a problem. But, like, if Genshin do shitty things, it kind of stands out as a way not to do things for other companies and they don't go down that route. Hey, why would you hate Genshin? You're playing your own game, being like, oh, I'm glad that ain't me. You know, I'm glad that ain't me. And it's good that people are getting mad about it over there, because then we can say to our devs, please don't do that. So yeah, man, no point getting mad about Genshin if you don't play Genshin personally. But, you know, it deserves to be roasted. It does deserve to be roasted.
Blaming certain games, certain gacha communities like Wuthering Waves or some of that hate. But Tectone over here is providing some additional context. So let's go ahead. Let's dive right on into it. I think it's a very small-minded take if people are assuming that the only people who hate Genshin Impact is the Wuthering Waves community. I think that's a very fair one to have. Just to remind all people, one of the first haters of Genshin Impact was actually the Honkai Star Rail community. There were a lot of individuals who quit Genshin Impact and instead played HSR. They saw that game giving out quality.
That's what I say. For me, when it comes to a lot of the hate for Genshin, it's like the refugees, right? It's kind of like the refugees.
Much faster. They saw that game giving out a free 5-star a lot faster. And Honkai Star Rail, ladies and
they
gentlemen,
fled the
is
country
actually where the term
and then
Genshin
holed up in another, you know, they got to the
Keep that in mind.
first safe country and started roasting you. You know? It's kind of what it was. New Nightmare, Tempest, Echo. Oh, nice. Let's go. I recommend checking out Psych. I think we've watched some Psych videos before, actually. One of the gachas I play doesn't have a pity system. And the new unit gacha can only be rolled with paid currency for like 3 months until they drop. Oh, really? Shit. That's what I'm saying. You know, I know he's doing it for reference because I think when a lot of people, especially in the Woowa community, in the Star Rail community, in Genshin, they have these statements about the big four, don't they? And when they're comparing stuff, they're really just comparing those games, aren't they? They're not comparing the entirety of gacha. They just say that because I guess, you know, it works for the content. Yeah, I'm 99% sure a lot of these people know that there's other games out there probably doing way worse, but it's not on the radar, is it so?
I want to remind everyone that Honkai Star Rail was seen as a disruptor to the success of Genshin Impact, as was Zenless Zone Zero. The rift between Hoyo's own gaming communities is long forgotten and dismissed to continue to
I want to remind everyone that Honkai Star Rail was seen as a disruptor to the success of Genshin Impact, as was Zenless Zone Zero. And I think that's probably true about Star Rail. Was it really as Zenless? Because Zenless came, like, after Woowa, didn't it, really? So, like, I feel like nobody, you know, like, Zenless kind of just does its own thing over there. You know, Zenless is just doing its thing, and nobody really goes after Zenless, I feel. You know, that's how I feel, anyway. I guess, like, from a community standpoint, people are going to be mad about Star Rail maybe sucking out some of the life from Genshin, but we all don't care, you know? They're just like, which hand do you want to put the money in? Left or right? We don't give a fuck. It's going in the same place.
Push this anti-Wuthering Waves agenda. It is very fair. It is beyond fair to say that games like Honkai Star Rail and games like Zenless Zone Zero have had way more updates done to difficult, annoying, or hard-to-handle game systems as opposed to games like Genshin Impact. Why do you think that Genshin, right now, currently, still has weekly limits on their boss battles?
Because the community has accepted all of the shit that's been thrown at them for 4 years, has made Hoyo over $10 billion. Why would they change it? You know, when you run a business, you do as little as possible to make as much profit as possible, don't you? Why would you go out of your way to make less? You know what I mean? That's why now, like, I see they're doing more in Zenless. One, because that game hasn't been the runaway success, I guess. And two, we're in a new space now, aren't we? I don't think even in the next wave of Hoyo games, they're going to be like Genshin, because there's just too much competition out there now. They've even referenced this when they spoke about how much money that Genshin had made, Hoyo did. They understood that Star Rail and Zenless are going to be self-cannibalizing the profit margins from Genshin. They don't care because they're still getting the money, and that there's more competition out there now. So this is a major factor why I think we'll probably see Gen 2 Hoyo, in my opinion, soon, where the games probably will listen a little bit more unless another Genshin comes out and absolutely blows everything out the water, and they just go back to being like, well, fuck them, you know? This is where the communities have to play a massive part of this, in just, you know, having a moment and going, you know what? No, we're not doing this. We're not going to spend on this. But again, a lot of that comes down to CN, doesn't it? Because if they accept you, guess what? Yeah, everybody else is going to have to accept it, aren't they? Or you're just going to have to move on.
Why do you think Genshin, right now, still has days where you can only farm certain talent materials to upgrade your characters, when none of the other games under their umbrella do? Wouldn't that give a lot of reasons for players who play ZZZ or Honkai Star Rail? Wouldn't that give a lot of ammunition for them to not actually like Genshin when you're comparing the other two games with it? Especially when you know that they're all ran by the same parent company. And you have Wuthering Waves coming in, right? Wuthering Waves, a game that has none of these limitations. Probably the best quality of life in the business. Quality of life being added every single patch. And now suddenly, we're going ahead. We're having creators like Mr. Pokey, who mains HSR. They're framing the situation as Wuthering Waves players going in and ruining his Genshin Impact experience. And let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, that's a bit of a disingenuous take to have when I am 99.9% sure when Dr. Ratio, the free limited 5-star released in patch 1 point something was announced, I'm pretty sure Poke's chat was spammed with the term Genshin could never. And I'm pretty sure Poke's chat when he was playing ZZZ and he got all of those big updates and saw those double banners for Miyabi and Harumasa lasting the entire patch. I'm pretty sure his chat was spamming during that live stream. Genshin could never. And so suddenly now, after we have probably a lot of evidence of Poke's chat being hostile against Genshin, consisting of mostly ZZZ and HSR players, suddenly now all the hate that you get when you're playing 5.3, it's only from Wuwa? It's only from the Kurobots? Weird. But I guess he knows his chat the best, right? So he should be able to make the final call. But then again, who knows, right? Who knows where it's from? Tectone then caps off by saying, and to be honest, it's just sad. And hopefully, all of the reasons that I've just given, all of those examples that I've just provided of why people who play HSR and ZZZ, and frankly, a shit ton of other gacha games too, might not like Genshin Impact. And it just seems very odd to start blaming Wuthering Waves now that it's released its 2.0.
I definitely do think, though, there is more people in the Wuthering Waves space who have a dislike for Genshin. And that's not because it's a problem with Wuwa and its community. It's just there's a lot more people who used to be Genshin fans who moved away from Genshin because they fucking didn't like it, you know, have found a home in Wuthering Waves now. And they might have moved away long before Wuthering Waves came out, but they just, you know, they were sick of it and they found a new home now. So maybe they're a little bit more vocal sometimes, you know. But I think the most vocal people about Genshin Impact are people who used to play Genshin Impact. I think most other gacha players who've never probably played the game don't give a fuck, do they really? You know, it's the refugees, man. It's the people who fled the war-torn nation, you know. They've found a good spot to set up now, and they kind of fucking hate where they came from, you know? And I don't think that's... I think sometimes in the Wuthering Waves community, we've got to accept that. A lot of people in this space are ex-Genshin players. It's not a bad thing, you know. They've just moved on, you know what I mean? I do think, though, that the thing with Mr. Pokey was definitely... That's kind of a culture that he's created around him. And I don't think it was necessarily fair to infer that those people were just the Wuthering Waves community. They were his community, who probably does play Star Rail a lot more, but it wasn't necessarily that was the Star Rail community. That was his community, you know? And I think that video Mr. Pokey put up definitely was a bit of an L-take, in my opinion, because it was like, you can't label your community now as the Wua community, because that's not the greater community. That's just your community. And your community wanted to, like, Dewey, and he has created a kind of dented community, hasn't he, really? And again, you guys know, love Mr. Pokey, but, you know, gotta call a spade, and I think that was true.
Now that it's honestly deemed in the entire gacha space as an amazing product when it previously wasn't due to that poor launch and poor story in version 1, now suddenly it's all Wuthering Waves' fault for the game.
One day someone will make an animation about the story and life of a Genshin player and the lore of how they flee from their country and built a humble home in the Wua space. Right, dude? Yeah, man, somebody needs to do that. You know, their overarching government starts to become tyrannical and puts them down, and they flee, and it cuts to them crossing the seas and walking across deserts and cutting through forests, and people dropping left, right, and center, and they're the people who just exited the gacha space altogether. And then, you know, they're holding up in their new homes and coming to Star Rail, and that being like kind of cross the border and coming to Zenless, or coming to Wua, or coming to whatever game that you might think of. That will be actually kind of cool, to be fair.
Genshin Impact 8. It's a little bit
going across the Wuthering Waves, right?
So
reminds me of that old Tom Petty song, Refugee.
As a long-time Genshin Impact player myself, and trust me when I tell you this, the majority of hate going towards Genshin Impact isn't the Wuwa community, nor the HSR, ZZZ, or shit, even the Nikkei community. The majority of Genshin Impact hate is coming from within its own community. And guys, I've seen the subreddits. I've seen the communities online. There are so many people absolutely pissed the fuck off by Natlan. I Google Reddit Natlan and I look at the Genshin Impact main subreddit. Anyone else disappointed by Natlan? Oh, wow. But suddenly, it's only Wuthering Waves that doesn't like this patch. Wuthering Waves is the only community that doesn't like Natlan. In defense of Natlan, we have people literally making defense posts. I haven't felt more isolated since Natlan. Why does the English-speaking part of the world dislike Natlan? This is just what I see when I Google...
I haven't felt more isolated since Natlan. What the fuck?
Reddit Natlan. It's quite literally all here. Somebody writing a defense post saying the region's it's actually good, guys. Whoa, whoa. And then you have somebody from Fatui HQ saying, I haven't felt more isolated. And then this guy's just stating facts about why people hate it. He's right. He's entirely fucking correct. He is 1,000,000,000% correct here. The people that hate Genshin Impact most aren't from outside community.
I think maybe where the skew comes from sometimes is that I think in the content creator space, probably the vocal negativity towards Genshin probably does come from more of the Wuthering Waves content creator space, doesn't it? I think that's a fair take, right? I agree with what Tecton's saying here, and as we've just discussed about it mainly being ex-Genshin players who've got a dislike for Genshin, and probably current Genshin players as well. I think it's fair to say, if you look at more in the content creator space, you know, I think, you know, it probably is coming a little bit more from Wooer creators. Again, though, I focus more on Wooer creators, so I don't know, maybe Star Rail creators are rallying on Genshin, maybe ZZZ creators are. Maybe PGR creators are. I don't know. But am I miles off there? Am I miles off there? Like, I feel like that. I feel like that anyway. That's from what I've seen. Jesus, everyone except the Genshin CCs hate Natlan. Yo, Charlie, what's going on, dude? Yeah, man, we spoke about these before, man. That fucking Barney dinosaur fucking paint by numbers world. There is that. The fucking nation of war, man. Like, bruh, you know? I mean, considering the kind of toxic space that Genshin CC are into, it's obvious why they don't say anything negative yet. True. They have sometimes got a bit of a boot on their neck, haven't they, really? So, you know, I suppose maybe that would balance out if a lot of these content creators weren't afraid to speak their mind so much. So that is a fact. That is a fact. Can't deny that. You know, I think there is probably a lack of, you know, honesty in that space. You know, I definitely think in the Wuthering Wave space is there's definitely a lot of glazing, but I think a lot of it is fair glazing, isn't there? You know, there's not that fear, I guess, or that culture of maybe, well, probably best not to speak out here in this space, personally, as somebody who's like, you know, peruses the Wuthering Wave space. I feel like people definitely seem to be a little bit more honest. Now, I think most of the time they are hyper positive. You know, I think a lot of the things they're hyper positive on are fair. And, you know, you've seen me plenty of times calling out people and I'm like, all right, now you're glazing a little bit too much. But, yeah.
These aren't people that haven't played it. They are people that have played Genshin Impact.
Yeah,
They've
it's
seen
true.
the game stagnate. And honestly, in Natlan, reverse. Fontaine was better than Natlan. Fontaine was a better region.
You know, it's like if you had a rough breakup with an ex, you're going to dislike your ex more than somebody who's never met your ex, right? You know, it's the same sort of thing, isn't it, really?
Pretty much every single way compared to Natlan. And all people have been seeing across...
I think you have a bit of a skewed perspective on it because since you're mainly in the Wooer community, you're not seeing a lot of the hate from other communities. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I might not be. I definitely do think that. But again, I have got a biased viewpoint because, you know, I'm not only in that. I do look at other content, but I lean into it a lot more. So, you know, there might be other communities who are kind of vocal about it as well. So that's a fair thing to say. Well, sometimes people like there is problems, but we will not pay attention to them because everything else is good. Yeah, that's fair as well. That's fair. I said this before, actually. When it comes to content creators, I don't think it's a content creator's job to necessarily be out here calling out all the negatives about a game. You know, as long as they're not being disingenuous and lying to the people, especially in this type of game because they're predatory, I think it's totally fine to be like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep it positive here. We're gonna keep it all smiles and you know, and happiness. So that's totally fair. What you staring at me for? Huh? Yeah, go on then. Yeah, go on then. Put it in. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the irony is that Genshin people tend to talk about toxic positivity on Witherside, but really it turns out there is more, far more of a projection than anything. I think that's fair, yeah.
The entire release of version 5 with, again, predatory fucking QOL.
Hey, yo, we got to be honest, though. There's problems in all communities, isn't there? And I think we're all level-headed enough to know that.
Exploration on the character banners where you have the shittiest, worst time possible exploring the map if you don't pull the limited characters. You then have the most predatory Archon banner we've ever seen with 2 limited characters, by the way. Mavuika, best in slot DPS, and then Silali, her best in slot sustainer. Releasing at the same fucking time.
Oh, but it was intended. Oh, this is actually player friendly because now you can get both characters at.
Shut up. No, it's literally the.
But I don't think it's fair though, because like Jeji is best in slot for Carlotta as well, isn't she? I know that it's a rerun, but she's kind of like best in slot for Carlotta. So like, it's not the same, but you know, still.
Worst patch cycle the game has ever seen, and people are legitimately angry to see other people playing it. Another content creator quits Genshin Impact because Natlan sucks. That's Ashikai. She quit the fucking game because the lore and the reveals of Natlan were so trash that she was just like, I don't want to make content on this bullshit anymore. How did one region do that?
Actually, Bobby Lee and Pix was staring at you too, right? She's just hearing. I could see her in my peripheral vision, just staring at me. And like while I was talking to you guys, she was just going. Taking the piss out of me for yapping.
And you could imagine, right, if even the most dedicated CCs are quitting this fucking game, that maybe it's just actually not good. And so, when we see a post like this, ladies and gentlemen,
I think as well, we do have to accept, as somebody who, like, I like Genshin, I'm not a fan of it like that anymore, and I don't really want to go back to it now, if I'm honest. I do think we've got to take into a big factor, though, of where, you know, a thing that's going to change people's viewpoints on a game is fatigue. You know, this game's what? This year be coming up to 5 years, won't it? You know, there's a long time to be playing a predatory game that's kind of been taking shits on you as well. You know, it's gonna drain you after a while, isn't it? Not necessarily that the game's way worse now than it was then, although there's been a lot of things added to the game that don't improve it at all. If anything, make it worse. But you know what I mean? I think even with games that are good, you get to a point, don't you? And I'm like, oh god, I'm kind of over this. You know, kind of over this.
Going ahead, talking about this whole Gacha tribalism piece. This ain't Gacha tribalism, to be honest. You know what this is? This is a Gacha civil war. And the only civil war that's happening right is fucking Inazuma. Natlan is actually Inazuma. It's just the Genshin Impact community is actually the one fighting itself. The Hoyo fan base is just fighting itself because of Natlan. It was the nation of war. It just started a war internally in its own fucking community. That is what Natlan did. So Hoyo was actually right with that caption for the region, right? Nation of War. It's literally just Genshin players fighting themselves. One side defending the shitty region, one side just stating the truth about how shitty the region is. And maybe that is kind of like the framing for this climate. That is what is actually going on. Because again, believe me, you want to know who's going to get scorned the worst when something bad happens? Think about any relationship. Why do you think that when people that were really close together, a really close couple breaks up, they oftentimes fucking hate each other's guts? Why do you think that happens? Because when you have a close relationship with something, you've invested a lot of time in something, and then it doesn't pan out or it doesn't go the way that you want to, you have
Bobby's kind of using my analogy here.
A lot more resentment towards it than if you just had surface level engagement. And there are a lot of people who have stuck with Genshin Impact, who have seen this game go through very, very big highs like Fontaine, and now it's in the shittiest lows it's ever been. Oh, they're fucking pissed. And they're pissed knowing that the devs are nickel and diming you at every single opportunity while also actively making the fucking game worse. And that's why people are mad. Because instead of fixing the game, instead of the way may cry
again, no man, like this, I'm at this point now. Yeah, they're not going to fix the game. They're not going to fix the game, man. You know, and I get it. You should still call it out, but like I think this idea that we think the game is, if we speak on it enough, the game's going to change. I don't know. Maybe if the amount of money spent on the game falls off a cliff, maybe it will. Maybe it will. But we know that's not going to happen. The game's just not going to change, man. You know, it's not going to change. I think the only time where we might see some actual potential drastic change in Genshin Impact is when it comes to the end of its life cycle, right? and they're kind of done. There's no major updates coming, and maybe it's just kind of on life support, potentially for new people coming in and people who keep on going at the game, and they're just popping things out here and there to squeeze the last little bit of money out of it. There might be major changes made then, you know, things that they've prepared a while back, and they're like, implement them now, because then it might encourage a new spurge of spending, or surge of spending, should I say? Well, you're spurging out, really, if you're doing that. But surge of spending on the game, potentially that might happen. But even then, I don't think that's going to happen, you know? It's been, 4 years now? It hasn't happened now. People have continued to spend on the game. So there's a part of me, I'm like, why would they? You know? Why would they, really? It doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, even if the fix it's been 4+ years, yeah, you get to that point, don't you? It's like, well, can you even give them credit for doing so? Not really. Genshin is still printing money. There's no reason for them to fix the game. Exactly.
Bro has literally just made it worse in every single patch. And now players are finally recognizing they're pissed. And I'm gonna be honest, Mr. Pokey, that is why. I bet it's actually Genshin Impact players. They're telling you not to play the fucking game. I don't even think it's Wuwa players or Kurobots. It's probably...
I don't think that's true, though. I don't think it is Genshin players who are telling him not to play the game. I think it's just Mr. Poke viewers. That's what it is, you know? It's just his viewers just going in, you know what I mean? Again, I don't think this is the Genshin community, the Wiwa community, the Star Rail community, the Zenless community. This is Poke's community at the end of the day. That's it.
Genshin Impact players that have been playing for 4 years, they played Wuwa 2.0, and they were just like, Genshin is shit. Pokey, you need to stop playing this fucking
I think
game.
a lot of them is probably for the memes as well, you know?
It's not worth your time. Just go back to 2.0. Those are probably the most fervent typers in his chat. The former Genshin players that also tried 2.0, and now they're saying Genshin's dog shit. You want to know what Kurobots? Real Kurobots that have been with Wuwa for a long time, you know what they're doing, Mr. Pokey? They're not watching you play this fucking game. They're flying around in Rinasita exploring the map. That's what they're doing. They're not watching your stream about Genshin 5.3. They're playing Rinasita. They're playing
No, man, I don't know. Like I say, I think there's plenty of different people from different gaming communities who enjoy Mr. Pokey, because I think he's an entertaining streamer. You know, I think that's kind of reductive in my opinion. It's reducing Mr. Pokey down to just, you know, a monolithic audience. I think there's people from different games that watch Mr. Pokey personally. Now, don't get me wrong, there's probably a lot more Star Rail players that watch it, because of course people who play games tend to watch content creators who are playing the game they play, but I also watch content creators. You know, I watch Mr. Pokey quite regularly when he's playing Star Rail. I haven't been involved in Star Rail for a long time now, you know what I mean? So like, I'm probably what you consider part of the Wuthering Waves community, and I enjoy his content. Now, I know he's not everybody, he's not saying everybody, but I'm just saying, I just think it's his community, you know? I think we got to be honest here. It's Pokey's community. It's not Genshin. It's not Wiwa. It's not any other community. It's his community.
2.0. That's what they're fucking doing. They're not in your chat doing this. I genuinely believe these are former Genshin players that are fucking pissed. And I'm glad Tecto made a post like this. That's probably true, because I think most people, at least in the Western sphere, or if you're playing Star Rail, ZZZ, or Wiwa, you've probably played Genshin before, haven't you? I'm glad he did. Let me know what you all thought about this whole situation.
Not everybody, but
Let me know
what
you think about this dynamic. I actually do think that this is what's taking place. A lot of former scorned lovers of Genshin Impact who have seen what a dev that makes a fraction of the revenue that Hoyoverse does. Kuro Games, a fraction of the revenue that Hoyoverse makes. And they've seen what a dev can do on a percentage, less than 10% of the budget. And they're pissed that they're not getting treated better. And they're
Get him, Bobby! Get him! Get him!
Peace out.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of good points in this video, and Techie made a lot of good points as well. But again, when it comes to the Poke thing specifically, you know, I don't see that was any particular game community. That was just his community, and he's fostered a community of dented people like that. So of course they're gonna act dented. You know, they're just gonna act dented, aren't they? They do it for the fucking memes a lot of the time. You know what I mean? I think sometimes us in the gacha space, we look a little bit beyond what's there. Perfect example was that video we watched from Kaza yesterday, in that one person, what they commented on that Nana content creators video. Like, that person AoE stun-locked a big portion of the Wiwa community from just making a fucking statement that I think was there to bait people, really, personally. And if it wasn't, it still baited people. You know, I think sometimes I try and find messages that are not there in this space, personally. He's not mad, it's just the way he talks. People love to prove it for people wrong just to make themselves feel better. Yeah, true. There's a lot of people who came to just chat. I don't really care what the CC's playing. It's fun company to save. Yes, yeah, true. Yeah, there is some people like that, Sarah. You know, there is some people like that. You know, they're just like, they want someone up on their second monitor while they're playing a game. Yeah, want to listen to a conversation, maybe hop in now and again just to like say their point of view on the conversation. Yeah, definitely. Why is it the gacha community seem to be the weakest minded and have the most fragile egos? I just don't get it with other people, maybe than my age. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably something there to that, to be fair. Because I don't know. I get sometimes I think it's just because the content creators are tapping into the views of some of the community, because the community a little bit like that. But then sometimes I'm listening to some content creators and I'm like, yeah, this person, it does seem like particularly bothered about this thing that's not serious, you know? I do think the community in the gacha space gets like stun locked quite a lot by stuff that's just like, why are we even really discussing this? You know what I mean? Why are we even discussing this? CCs are half the fucking problem. Yeah, true. Can't deny you. Can't deny you. I accept myself as a small, very small content creator. I'm part of the problem sometimes in some of the discussions, you know, especially when it comes to things like the gacha revenue. I think people should be fucking sensible enough to realize that it ain't that deep. That's kind of part of the reason why I want to keep making gacha revenue content videos, if I'm honest, because it just makes me laugh. People get really mad about it, you know? Well, sometimes that's that little chaotic part of my brain that's just like, come on, poke the bear, you know? Poke the bear. And then should drop something today, looking at it for 2 hours on your screen. Have they put anything up on their website, actually? You know what? Let me check. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Has anything gone up on their website recently? Do we know? I don't think so, right? Like, do you know what? Has there been any gameplay coming out from this this test? So I'm actually kind of surprised that there hasn't been a bunch of gameplay. Now, as somebody, again, I don't interact with leaks anymore in Wuthering Waves, so I guess I'm not seeing leaks for other games either, you know, like in terms of the algorithm pushing it to me. But I ain't seen shit for this game. Have any of you lot? Because I did this offline test. Some people was able to get access to it remotely as well, weren't they, I believe? I was kind of expecting maybe something to come out. Are these guys actually able to get on top of the leaks? You know? Are these guys the dudes that can make it happen? Do Kuro and Genshin need to go to these guys and go, how'd you stop the leaks, man? What you using? You know? 2 hours, I apologize for not being here. I was busy being unconscious. I generally think Ananta is going to crash and burn. I've not seen shit about Ananta, no leaks either. You reckon? Because, you know, it's got a lot to live up to, not just in the space, but in what it's promoted itself as, hasn't it? So, it's possible. It's possible. No, nothing on this game. To be honest, this is a question kind of off topic. Have you ever played or tried Project Zomboid? Yes, I have, yeah. Yeah, I have. I've got that game. I ain't played it for a long time, though. Good game, still. What's going on, Yuri? From as much as I saw, there was a text leak for Ananta, but not video. Yeah, I saw some of that myself as well. Like, we went through that on a video actually talking about, like, what some people had kind of reported on from CN. But, yeah, I haven't seen it. Maybe it's just because we're all Westerners, and maybe there's some of that stuff was floating around Chinese spaces, maybe. I don't know. There was not so much people to test, if I believed, to leaks, but there is nothing. We only have what little text version from them, too little from that much of people playing the game. Potentially, maybe the test was small enough, and the fact that majority of it was done offline, and some people are like, because I think there was some people that were able to remotely get into it who weren't able to travel to that part of China, wasn't there? So maybe that number was so small that the people haven't been able to leak because they know that they'd, you know, they'd be caught up, they'd be caught, like, kind of thing. And the people who were obviously there, you know, it's a lot harder to record something in person when, you know, there's maybe a bunch of dudes ready to fucking potentially stop you leaving or something, maybe. I don't know. Or not stop you leaving because that'd be kidnapped, but, you know. I don't know. But yeah, man, ain't seen shit. Ain't seen shit. Let's have a look on the news. Have a look on the news, see what they're saying. Yeah, this is the last post I saw, actually, for Happy New Year. Damn, man, the cake, then, boys. Jesus. Bro, that tree placement there is diabolical. That is a diabolical tree placement right there. That is diabolical. Shocking. Shocking. Absolutely. What is this, lads? Oh, it's different now. Different now. Perspective there. The ratio. Ooh. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. No news on Ananta then. There are no leaked videos, just unverified people who claim to have played it. None on Bilibili either. Yeah. Well, I would imagine on Bilibili, you'd probably get I don't know. Does that stuff fly on Bilibili? I don't know. What makes me feel like Ananta is going to be a Terra Fantasy 2 is the fact that the promotion-wise, they went so hard and created expectations that will hardly be satisfied. I hope I am proven wrong, but I don't. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Like I say, when we read through what people were saying about the offline test, people were saying that it does seem that we're not being sold a kipper, so to speak, and that it does, live up to what's been shown off, but that's just hearing from particular people. We don't know if that's true, do we? Until we actually see a good section of gameplay that's not 30 seconds cutting from this angle to that angle to make it look better. We're not going to know, are we? I want to see somebody driving around. I want to see somebody running around an area. I want to see somebody getting into combat before I want to see people doing the Spider-Man grappling around because, I want to see how the game's looking and running in that regard, I also want to see how densely populated areas are, because that's the thing that they've really shown off it, isn't it? Yeah, they get we were too. Oh, okay. Okay, then. All right, okay. Okay, then. Yeah, all right. Fair. I should have a look at the upcoming Gacha games for January. That's... as well, in 5 days' time, we'll be checking out Art Night Enfield. As far as I'm aware, the case is that we are able to share, stream, make content on the game. As far as I'm aware, in the FAQs, it stated that. They didn't necessarily directly say it, but they pretty much said there's no restrictions. So I gather there's no restrictions. NT and other handmade offline tests an anime festival in CN. They're not wasting any opportunity. It seems there's a huge fan base already on CN for NTE. Yeah, I'll give them credit for that. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think that game needs a lot of time to cook, but the fact that they're showing it's a good thing. Leaks are about as brain dead as they come. Yeah, I heard that we were leaks are out. I'm trying to my best to avoid them, since some people I know even likes to share it with each other. Yeah, I've done really good actually of staying away from me. Hold up a second, chat. I need to go for a pee. I'm back. Is there any smaller games coming out that looks interesting? For me personally, that Stellar Sora looks really cool. Why not do online and public tests out like old Wua? They could improve a lot more if they did that now. Yeah, Black Beacon. Re-Memento's good as well. I like Re-Memento. I don't know if you guys have seen Stellar Sora, but that game looks cool. All right, let's have a look then. Games with announced release date, games in pre-registration or beta or recent beta. Okay, so we've got Peace Aquarium with demo on Steam. This is that game that you can kind of put anywhere, right? And it just kind of does its thing. Not into that at all, personally. Silver and Blood, haven't heard of that. Azure Familia. So Azure Familia's got a test going on in January. Okay, interesting. Ananta, Neverness to Everness. Tribe 9, Arknights Enfield, closed beta on the 16th of January. The King of Fighters, Ethereal Restart as well. This kind of looks cool also. Black Beacon as well, which I think looks actually kind of dope, to be fair. Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Okay, games confirmed to come to global in January. Oh, is Persona 5 the Phantom X coming this month? Oh, yo, is re-memento coming globally this month then? Okay, because I've got to say, guys, look, I like re-memento actually, so I'm looking forward to this coming global. I think the game's kind of cool, you know. I think if you like Star Rail, I think you'll get something out of this. You got an open world game as well, open world areas. You know, you can hop on mounts. Like, you know, the production levels are not Hoyo level, or the combat. I like it, man. The combat's good. It's got PvP as well. It's not live PvP. You're just fighting people's teams and stuff, which, you know, obviously you can have issues, but yeah, I like re-memento. Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, Horizon Walker. I don't know that one. Destiny Rising. Is this the mobile version of Destiny? This, I think it is. Yeah. Duet Night Abyss. Is Duet Night Abyss coming out this month then? Ooh, global as well, right? Okay, because I want to try this game out. It looks okay actually. Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, Chaos Zero Nightmare, Madoka Magica Magia Extra, Zero Era, Monster Hunter Outlanders, Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, games that might come to global, Copium section, Crazy Ones, One Piece Ambition, Project Net, Trickcal Revive, excuse me, I got the hiccups, Fellow Moon, Millennium Tour Elf, what a name, Anchor Panic, Normium, Cross Call, Overfield, Heaven Hells, Echo of Vision, anniversaries of big events in global games, Eversoul 2 Eversoul 2nd anniversary, Limbus Company 5th World Purgisnacht, Arknight's 5th anniversary on the 16th of January, in reverse 1999 1.5 anniversary. I must admit, we looked at the upcoming events on reverse 1999. Kind of looking fire, man. Kind of looking fire. Horizon Walker is a porn gacha. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I definitely won't have to look that one up. But yeah, let me show you guys Stellasaur. You might not be into it. I like it. I like the look of it. It looks all right to me. It looks all right. You've probably seen me react to this. I think I did upload a video of this actually. But I think this looks kind of all right, man. I do, personally. I like its vibe, you know? Whatever happened to that one with the hot waifus riding the giant mechas? That one's in, like, early, actually. Like, I forgot what that was called, actually, no. I remember that one as well. Yeah, hopefully re-memento improves its graphics after it makes its money from launch. Like, you know what? Playing it on PC, like, actually playing it, it didn't feel that bad to me. There was some, like, you know, textures that definitely could do with some work. But personally, like, when I was playing it, I wasn't like, oh, this is ugly. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. Alright, Neil, know what he's doing. Mecha Break, I think that was it, yeah, Roy. I think that was the one, right? I think that was it, you know, actually. Was it Mecha Break? I don't know. Yeah. I remember this game, yeah, it looks cute. Yeah, I like the look of this, man. Is this from Nexus? Yosa, yeah. I don't know if it's from Nexus, I'm not too sure. I like the bright design. The combat looks great. ARPG, isometric ARPG. Down for that. The abilities look good. It's fast paced. The music is good. The audio is good. The characters are a little bit more like the lean on this like cutesy kind of look to them, but I'm not against that. So yeah, this is a game that I'm definitely going to be checking this out, that's for sure. looks like it's got the potential as well to actually, if they lean into that, of course, like these sort of games potentially have got the ability to actually have some kind of difficult content, haven't they, if they do decide to go down that route. You know, I like the game, the characters' designs, I do. You know, they're not like chibis. They're not like chibis, but they're, you know what I mean? They're kind of there. They're like little short kind of cartoon versions of them, aren't they? Which I'm down for it, man. And they're quite cool looking characters. It does look actually fun, right? As soon as I seen it, I was like, right, I'm on this one. Looks like it's got some cool ult animations as well. Only thing for me is the UI, which I think looks a bit, I don't know how to say, a bit bland, a bit like basic, but I don't know, it might be me. I can see what you're saying. For me, I don't mind a UI being bland as long as it's simple, you know? Like, a good UI, you don't ever think about it, do ya? But at the same time, I do want something that feels nice as I'm navigating through it as well. You know, like, Zenless UI looks nice. That's a UI that, to me, is a little bit over-designed sometimes. We've spoke about this multiple times. Phone UI, yeah, probably, yeah. It's got a nice art style as well. ZZZ UI is made in hell, right? For real. Like, I remember when I came back to it, man, and I was like, yo, the UI is kind of rough. And Chase was just like, yeah, that's because you're a boomer, bro. I'm just like, bro, this UI is fucking age, man. I'm telling you. Especially as a tourist coming back to you, he's like, bro. Yeah, man, that's Stellasora. I think it looks good, you know. I think it looks good, man. It's got to be from Nexus. Not complaining, no. Yep. Let's have a look, actually. Developed by Yostar. I don't know, but yeah, looks good, man. Looks good. Glad to see it's got a bunch more views now, because when we first watched this, it seemed like it was going under the radar. Good to see that people are actually picking up on it now. I like it. So Persona 5 The Phantom X comes out as well this month then. Okay. Is this a game that any of you guys are interested in? As somebody who does kind of like Persona games, I haven't really seen too much about this, if I'm honest, but any of you guys interested in checking out Phantom X? I'm interested in your sellout. Looks dope, yeah. Oh, I'm glad I'm not alone with that one. Yeah, Yostar have got, they seem like they've got their fingers in multiple pies, don't they? Okay, cool. I spoke to Sticks about this. I says, like, this is one of the games I'm looking forward to, and he said same as well. I've never played Blue Archive. Never played it. Guys, as well, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to drop a like on the stream. It's very much appreciated. It helps out. It helps out. So it seems like a lot of people are starting to get on the idea they're not fans of the Terror of Adversity. I think it's because they're leaning into the gimmick of the patch, aren't they? A little bit. Which I guess, you know, makes sense now. I've been saying for a while, though. It's not great. It's not great. Yeah? Is there anything else to check out before we hop on to the Wuthering Waves? To the Wuthering Waves. You just shocked me. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah. I got some salmon on the go. Rosie's cooking me some salmon. Sure, be gorgeous. Brentford are knocked out the FA Cup by Plymouth. Oh shit! Giant killing. Giant killing. P5X looks good, but it definitely feels like it's Persona, but sloppy seconds. Yeah. That's a thing, isn't it? I think when you've got a game series like that, where it's like this beloved series, and if you're going into the gacha space, you've really got to make it stand out, haven't you? Because if it's just a gacha version of a standalone game that's just pretty fucking sick anyway, it's like, you know, I don't think it's a good enough excuse to just be like, well, we've slapped a live service on it now. You can play it forever. It's like, you know, TOA is just boring unless you like optimizing rotations and DPS. Yeah, agree. She's an electro resonator. What's that? Sorry. It's a big of a, let's just say, story-wise, I don't think it's peak, but might not be for everyone. What's this Chaos Zero Nightmare? I'm sure I've heard something about this. Any of you guys interested in Duet Night to Miss? Is that a no-no for you guys? Yeah, I must have watched. Oh, this is coming out. Oh, yeah, I remember this game. Okay, I remember this game. Yeah, it looks all right, I guess. Looks all right. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. The Black Beacon beta that's on now is just mobile, right? Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, guys. I'm looking forward to Arc Knights. Yeah, holograms are better, yeah. I do prefer holograms, personally.